Hey, to me. Oh my goodness, there we are. We are live. Welcome to the Filmmaker IQ live stream today on April 8th, 2023. Today's subject is we're going to be we're going to approach Super Mario Brothers movie through the lens of postmodern auteur theory and examine the tropes, the larger Hellenistic, perhaps even Campbellian approach to story that the creators have dignified, have brought this universe into being, and perhaps the slightly, somewhat say Marxist dichotomies that occur between the bourgeois and the proletariat, of course. Yes. You should learn to put reminders. If I put reminders out, then you wouldn't know when to catch these things. No, I should probably put reminders. I don't always know what time I will go live, so I just kind of been doing them sort of haphazardly on Saturdays. Although you are here, so you didn't need a reminder. You got it. Yeah, well, I mean, I should probably make this more of an official Saturday at 2:40 or something like that thing. I'm getting there. Let's get to the point where I can just do these monthly. Then I'll be happy. Then once we'll get that flow going, and I'll start producing, getting a little more consistent. I guess more consistent and professional. I suppose, as far as doing it. Yes, welcome. Yes, we're going to do a serious postmodern critical analysis of the Mario Brothers movie, because that's what the world needs. We need to the video essayists are furiously working away, trying to find some way, either both how Mario Brothers, exemplifies the postmodern look at the power struggle between, the haves and the have-nots, to use a very, very, what's the term for it? Very cheap wording. We need to find a $10 word to describe the sort of, the sort of, I wouldn't say clandestine, but the hidden power struggle, just under the surface. You are expecting, the question is, when will the people of the Mushroom Kingdom rise up and overthrow their evil overlord, Princess Peach, who seems to be only a ruler because of her birth? Is there a reason why? Was Princess Peach democratically elected? No, I say not. She was thrown into the office purely as a matter of the fact that she's not a mushroom. Why should she govern the Mushroom Kingdom? It should belong to all the mushrooms, not the human. Ah, my lord. She is the pits, as Boa Mike says. She is the pits. No spoilers. I haven't seen it yet. Hey, you're working on your next Wrench Mine episode. How you doing, Rick? I haven't seen you in a while. The thing is, okay, so the story, I guess, with Mario that everyone's kind of talking about is how the Rotten Tomatoes has it at 50% Rotten Tomatoes. It's considered rotten, right? And the audience score is hovering at 99% or whatever it is. And I would say this is either a complete, because I haven't read any critical review of it. I haven't read any official critics review of Mario Brothers. And so I have no idea exactly what that means. Because remember, what a Rotten Tomatoes score doesn't mean that all the or 50% of critics, doesn't mean that the critics gave it a 50% out of 100%. It means 50% of critics endorsed or recommended it. So it's the 50% gave it a binary, up or down, right? It's not like, 50% 50 critics just said 50%, it's just so. No, you could have 50% loving the movie and 50% absolutely hating the movie, and you'd have a 50% Rotten Tomatoes score, right? And so I haven't read any of the critic reviews. I should probably do so before I go online talking about critic reviews. But we're not going to, because this is a live stream. This is YouTube. You don't need to know what you're talking about on YouTube in order to talk on YouTube, right? You don't need facts. You don't need logic. You just need an opinion, and people will follow and watch it. Of course, that's the way YouTube works. That's the way the world works. Anyhow, so I haven't read any of the critics' review, but the problem is, I can understand why this would be I saw it last night with some friends, so because we wanted to see on Thursday, my friend's like, "Oh, I'm in my pajamas." I don't. Well, we saw Friday, and then they brought their another friend who brought his wife and his 2 young kids. It's a kids movie. It's a kids movie, right? It's nothing wrong with the kids movie. So I saw it last night, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the heck out of it. It was a lot of fun. But as Mike said, was saying, warning me, don't say anything about the Rick. Sorry, Rick. As Rick said, don't spoil it for me. I don't know how to spoil it. I don't think there is a way to spoil it. Like, it's not a movie. It's not like I've never played a Mario game and thought, man, that was a great storyline. Like, Mario's not about story. It's about the experience of the world and playing around, jumping around, and the fun things of the Mario. And the movie itself is not necessarily about the plot. Although there is a plot. Obviously, there is a storyline. Is it faithful to the games? The games have no story. So there's not really stories. I thought all you needed was LEDs in the background for to be a YouTuber. No, you need a camera. You need a potato camera, and then and some opinions, and then you can leave comments on my videos. If you have no idea what you're talking about, even better. Like, you can just argue with me, just call me stupid, and then consider that and claim that's a criticism. Like, you can't take criticism. I said you were stupid. You can't take criticism. Brains all over the place. Anyhow. A lot of 90% Rotten Tomatoes scores are decent movies if you don't think critically of it and judge it fairly. They tend to be great and boring trash. That's the thing. It's like you can have like a movie that's what's considered a critic pleaser. So a lot of critics can say, yeah, that was decent. It wasn't my favorite movie of the year, but it was okay. It was pretty good. Which probably describes what my work. If I were so lucky to have a movie, that would probably be my work. It's pretty good. It's not great, but it's pretty good, right? You can have that, and it'll be like a 95% Rotten Tomato score, because only a couple people say, "Well, I really didn't like that movie," but everyone's like, "Yeah, it's pretty good. It's okay. It's pretty. I liked it. It was pretty good. Three out of 5, right?" You can have a bunch of 3 out of 5 star reviews, and then it's a 96% Rotten Tomato, and then so that's the hard thing about Rotten Tomatoes. Again, I have not experienced what Rotten Tomatoes, what the reviews are. So my review, I guess you would call it a review, it is a fine movie. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I played Mario Brothers as a kid growing up, starting with the first one. Then I skipped 2 and I went to 3. 3 I was obsessed with for a long time. And I played that. I never played any Nintendo 64 at all, because at that point I moved to PC. I was a PC gamer after my Super Nintendo. That was my last console until I became an adult, at which point I brought back, I bought a Wii later in life, and I played the Galaxy game, but I don't remember a whole lot from Mario Galaxy. And I played, then I had a PlayStation just to actually watch Blu-ray movies. But I obviously have some experience in Mario. I know Mario. Mario's been part of my life, right? So from watching the movie, you could sit there and enjoy the fact that we're in the Mushroom Kingdom. You can sit and enjoy that there's the Koopas and there's the Goombas, and then Bowser's and then whatever that thing is, because we never knew what the name of that character was. But you can enjoy everything. The animation of the movie is really cute. I mean, it's got that Illumination animation style, which is sort of, there's a Disney animation style, which is kind of very, very sophisticated and graceful, and then Illumination tends to be a little more goofy, cartoonish, so they can put a little cartoony goofiness inside of the 3D animation. And I thought it worked really well. All the little details were, facial expressions, the squish, and all that stuff was nice. It was just great. It was good. It was really, really good. It was a great cartoon feel to it. The storyline is serviceable. It's fine. Again, Mario doesn't have a storyline, right? So there's no point in worrying about being canon. I mean, yes, there's some things that, you expect to see the little Koopa Troopas with the wings flying around. That makes sense, right? So, oh yeah, Mario Kart. I played the heck out of Mario Kart. I love that game. The first one, the SNES version. Yeah, no Princess Daisy. How dare they? Oh, they're probably saving that for the sequel, right? You gotta save something for the sequel. You gotta get Princess Daisy in there. Oh, you're watching me from a car wash. Top that, Europeans. Yeah, pop that. You're pay for your gas in liters. Ugh. So it is very much a nostalgia. So it looks like a nostalgia bait. Well, yes and no. In that it is nostalgia bait, in that it baits you with nostalgia, but it delivers on the nostalgia part. Like, it's not just like, oh, remember, it's a cute movie. It literally is a cute movie that has zero political aims, zero creepy factor to it. It's a cute movie that you can park your kids in front of for 90 minutes, because it's only a 90-minute movie, and watch it and be totally entertained by it. I mean, there are parts to me. So my biggest criticism of the movie was I felt like some of the needle drop songs were gratuitous. And what I mean by needle drop songs are songs from pop culture that were played inside the movie. Like, for example, would be like, I'm walking on sunshine, whoa, in the middle of a Marvel movie. To me, doesn't make sense to me. I would have rather them use the entire catalog of Mario soundtrack throughout the whole movie and not use any sort of needle drop songs at all, because I didn't feel like it felt out of place. And to me also, that also would date the movie really fast. Although the songs they used were pretty old to begin with, so they're not exactly like modern pop songs, right? I said the animation was snappy. What I was kind of thinking in watching the movie, I was sort of thinking, in the year 2023, who would have thought that I would rather trust my kids watching something from Nintendo than watching something from Disney? And it kind of speaks to volumes about where culture is and the opportunities available for other companies just outside of Disney to kind of capture the family market. Because I think this will do gangbusters, because it is a very pleasant movie that has nothing objectionable in it whatsoever. And it will play well with kids because there's lots of bright, funny colors. And it's just, it's just bright and fuzzy and entertaining. And that's it. Like, if, I might have read some people walking away like, there should have been critics. I read the titles of critics saying, the plot is paper thin. Okay. Well, what did you expect? It's a Mario movie. It's a movie that entertains. What a concept. Exactly. It's just, it's nice. It's good. Will I look back at the end of the year and say, man, that Mario movie, that was my favorite movie of the year? It depends on how bad the rest of the year turns out, right? It was a pleasant experience. It was a very pleasant experience. Very pleasant. Is it wow? No. It's not going to be groundbreaking. It's pleasant. Almost as a kid, too. I remember, playing Mario Brothers was never, to me, the pinnacle of gaming. Like, it never felt like, this is the most, it's always a very pleasant and kind of a fun thing to do, but it wasn't like, God, I gotta get home and play Mario Brothers. I never had that love affair with Mario. It was Mario Kart. Well, Mario Kart was more like just loving that. I mean, I love the heck out of Mario Kart, but, yeah, I don't know. Let's see what your comments are saying here. His princess is another castle. They did drop the line in there. You have to drop the line. Like, everyone's just sitting there like, say it. Sorry, Mario, but the princess is another castle. It's, yeah, I won't go any further for spoilers reasons how that plays out. I like the Super Mario movie would give it 6 to 7 out of 10. I'm surprised 50 Cent critics don't like it. It's like calling March of Penguins boring. Yeah, exactly. I think 6 to 7 out of 10 would probably be, if I were to have to put it on a scale, it'd be in the high 7s. I would go a little higher than that. Yeah, there you go. Needle drop songs like Aha, Take Me On. That's what it was. Just seemed like a random popular song to keep parents engaged. That's like really bothered me a little bit. It's like, and that was during the like the one of the Mario Kart, almost a Mario Kart homage. It's like you have all this Mario Kart catalog of music you could have used, right? And why pick Aha Take on Me? I mean, that's like a 40-year-old song. Like what does it have to do? It has nothing to do with the story. Has nothing to do with the universe. Has nothing to do with anything. It's just there, like randomly there. Well, that was during the kart scene, right? Yeah, it was weird. Weird. I often use ratings and bellow 5 to 10. Maybe I read that wrong. A coworker said to me his wife hated it, his son loved it. Well, how much you love and how much you hate, I wonder is the question did his wife play a lot of Mario Brothers? Because if you didn't play a lot of Mario Brothers, if you like literally have less than like, 10 hours playing Mario, I'm sure I've got like in the hundreds across all the different games, right? Mario Kart probably in the neighborhood like 500 hours. I played a lot of that as a kid. If you don't have affinity toward the universe, then I imagine the game, the whole movie might just feel grating on you. But if you're like for kids too, if the kids play the games and they're familiar with the characters and it's definitely fun. It's annoying how like John Leguizamo's like, I can't believe they didn't cast a Puerto Rican or a Colombian in this role of Luigi, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, they do pretty go hardcore on the Italian stereotype. If you want to, it's a good thing Italians aren't the ones complaining about diversity because they kind of get like Italian faced in that movie. They're all talking about it's a Mario, it's a spaghetti. It's like it's so over the top. If the Italians were really, I mean, you just wait a couple weeks. The Italian Defamation League will come out saying this movie is awful. It's promoting Italian stereotypes. Just wait. It's going to happen. They're all from Brooklyn and they eat the pizza. And we can't have any kind of goofy fun about anything anymore. Buffalo. Wahoo! All right, never mind. So what was better, the first Sonic movie or the first Mario or this Mario movie? A good question. I would say I enjoyed it's a tough one. I would say I enjoyed the Sonic movie slightly better. However, I never played Sonic games. So that's kind of the trade-off. I never had a Sega, and I never played the Sonic games. I think I played like 10 minutes, either at the store with the little Sega display thing or at a friend's house. So I don't have any reference to all the Sonic stuff. So, but I enjoyed the kind of the feel of the movie, right? If you were to give me another example would be maybe like the Pikachu Pet Detective movie. I enjoyed that more than I enjoyed either of those two movies. Like I really liked the Pikachu movie. Not the greatest movie in the world, obviously, but I enjoyed the Pikachu a lot more than Sonic or Mario. However, the Pikachu movie, I also had no connection. I have no idea what the Pokemon is doing, but I just like the Pikachu movie was just cute and fun and entertaining. So I think, maybe as we're diving deep into it, it's like the more you are familiar with Mario, the more you're going to like the movie. And if you have no connection to Mario whatsoever, then just skip it. Don't bother. It's not like you're going to be like, whoa, I just love Mario all of a sudden because no, you're not going to understand why is there Donkey Kong here? It doesn't make any sense. Why there's mushrooms? Of course not. It doesn't make any sense at all. I think the voice acting did a great job. I didn't feel without the accent. People were worried about Chris Pratt's accent, and it was fine. I think it wouldn't have fit throughout the whole movie. Yeah, you can't overdo it. You can't do that the whole time, right? I forgot that Charlie Day was Luigi. Like I didn't get that. Usually you think you can hear Charlie's Day voice, because his voice is so raspy and like iconic. But I forgot it was Charlie Day for the entire movie until like until the ending. Then I saw that. Oh yeah, it was Charlie Day. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I could finally hear it, but he didn't have that classic Charlie Day sound that like in a Lego movie where he's a spaceman. Like that was Charlie Day. That's Charlie Day right there. Jack Black as Bowser, I thought was okay. I wasn't in love with the Jack Black singing on the piano, the Bowser stuff is singing. It's fine. I don't to me, it's like stop the movie. Jack Black's famous for singing, so let's just have him do a singing song. I don't know, whatever. Not my. I don't care. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. What else is in there? Anya Taylor-Joy as Peaches. It's like a stunt cast. I feel like they could have. She's fine. They could have, but I wonder, if we nitpicky, could you have found a female voice that would have been more interesting or more different for it? Maybe you could have found a different actress that would have been more, just had a little more character to it. Because I don't think when I think of Anya Taylor-Joy, I don't think of her voice. You know what I think of? I think of her eyes. Like, honestly, like her eyes are what make Anya Taylor-Joy her. The voice. It's just celebrity casting. Was Jack Black music interlude as bad as the David Bowie song? No, I don't even remember the David Bowie song in Labyrinth, honestly. And I've seen Labyrinth, but I don't remember the Bowie song. It wasn't bad. Jack Black musical number wasn't bad. It was just, for my taste, a little out of character. And you can argue with that. Well, it's supposed to be a little out of character. See. I won't spoil it. Like, Rick's watching. I don't want to spoil it. So, it just felt a little bit, not quite in character. Doesn't really make sense. But, again, it's a fun movie. You're allowed to have fun in a fun movie, right? You can have some fun in games, do little side treks, and, it's not, like, I'm not sitting there like, well, this is not Oscar worthy. No, it isn't. I'm sorry, it isn't. You need more conflict in the central character. I'm sorry. You just have to have it. Conflict is the essence of drama, and there's just not enough conflict in this film. Not to my taste. No, definitely not. Anyhow. So. Yeah, Labyrinth is great, but modern audiences would find it plenty discomfort in it. Oh my goodness. Let's finish the thoughts on Mario here. The kids that were with me seem to like it. That's cool. I mean, they should, because it's a fun movie, right? Like I said, you almost feel like I would trust Nintendo more than I would trust Disney with a kids film, because I don't think Nintendo is going to try to make stuff, throw stuff in there that's a little bit would be controversial for family stuff. Let's go through the rest of the cast. Let's think. Keegan-Michael Key, I didn't recognize his voice as Toad, or Toad, where Mushroom, the little mushroom dude. Who else? Oh, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. I didn't get the voice. I forgot that he was cast. My friend had a problem. My friend also had a little problem with Seth Rogen, but I get that. I didn't notice it too hard. Who else is in the movie? I'm trying to think of other characters. That's about the major ones, I believe, right? Chat will tell me. Who else? What character did I talk about? Yeah, Seth Rogen. Wasn't it? Wasn't Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong? I thought. Or am I missing the names wrong here? Mario. I'll look it up. Mario Brothers. Cast. Charlie Day, Jack Black. Seth Rogen was Donkey Kong. Fred Armisen is Cranky Kong. Couldn't have told you. It's the thing, there are I'm looking at the cast here. We've got Anya Taylor-Joy, Charles Martinet, which you've never heard. Charles Martinet was the original voice of Mario, right? He's the iconic voice of Mario. He plays, he's the guy that came up with "It's a me, Mario." There's a story. I sometimes will show this to my class. It's a documentary by this guy's The Big Story. No, not The Big Story. It's a documentary it's a short 2-minute documentary about this guy, Charles Martinet, and how they brought him in to do the voice of Mario. And he said, like, an Italian plumber, he's like, well, I'm just going to try. But they kept trying to push him to do harder and harder, like cartoony, it's a me, and I'm on, like further and further and further. He didn't walk in thinking, like, it just kind of grew that. What does he play? He plays a character named Giuseppe, the original character creation in the film. Kind of looks like Mario in the alternate reality. Oh, really? Okay. And then Mario and Luigi watch the Super Mario plumbing commercial. Mario wonders if he and Luigi. Okay. What about the accent? Is it too much? Mario says. Okay, that's a little Easter egg in there. And the movie is just called Mario Brothers Easter Egg Hunt. What it is, which is very timely fitting for the release weekend, right? Easter eggs. Get those Easter eggs out. What the heck? Luigi meets Combine Elite? What the heck? Some weird stuff that's popping up here. So Charles Martinet again, actors that are voice actors who aren't known for their face, but are known for their voices. Sebastian Maniscalco was Foreman Spike. Okay. Eric Bauza, Jessica DeCoco, DeCico. So that's the thing with voice acting. Sometimes the best voice actors are not famous people. And unfortunately, that's what's happened with, animation is now it's all celebrity casted voices. So instead of having the best characters, the best interesting sounding voices, the most, versatile voices, we have celebrities. And that's kind of a shame to me as far as like animation, especially pop animation. I need the story to not be pointless, or at least be in the range of reality. Well, range of reality would sort of negate the fact that you're going to watch a movie where a guy eats a mushroom and gets bigger. Like, obviously, range of reality, I think maybe if you would say Mario Brothers has a storyline that has a direction and is cohesive, I would not say it's a range of a range of reality. Love the show and the awesome background. Thank you. The background is Midjourney's depiction of what Mario would look like. So that's what Midjourney thinks it looks like. Not every film. There you go. Not every film needs to have something to say or have a story. Sometimes people just want to entertain. I mean, look. Okay. Even though I say that Mario Brothers is thin on like story, I don't think it necessarily does. It does have something to say, in a sense that it does have some sort of underlying morals and themes of it. And that, like, one of the themes, if we want to put on my smoking jacket and push my glasses, up the top of my head and then speak without breathing through my nose at all and just become just insufferably smug, I would say that the main driving theme of Mario Brothers is the son and father relationship, and it mirrors not itself only through Mario and his attempt to impress his father, who sees Mario as a loser because his business is a failure, but also it finds a foil in Donkey Kong and how Donkey Kong feels like he's a failure in the eyes of his father. So you see that Mario Brothers is really an examination of the father-son dynamic. I mean, it's clear as day. Charlie Day, in fact. Sorry, I had to do that. I mean, so there is some underlying, like, moral and, like, Mario feels like he's a failure. Mario feels like him and his brother started this plumbing business and they suck at it. They're failures. And then Mario, then Brooklyn goes underwater. There's a big thing, and he gets sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom, and he has to he gets separated from his brother, right? And they have to find each other. There's messages of love and family, right? There's messages of again trying to impress the father, right? And then at the very end, obviously, because this is a relatively basic story, that he's able to show his father he's not a complete screw up. And maybe, and in some essence, I don't exactly read this through here, but I think the father also is like, hey, no, I never thought you were a screw up anyway. I loved you anyway. That kind of thing. There's elements of that. So if you wanted to write a college paper for your freshman English class and dissect it, you could do it. You could jam it. You can stick in there tropes and all that stuff and make it work. Definitely can. So I'm not saying it doesn't have nothing to say. There's archetypical stuff going on. There is underlying classical mythic story stuff going on. It's not very sophisticated. It's not like something you've never seen before in your life if you've watched, more than 20 movies. But it's there. It's not like it's not grounded in any sort of tradition of storytelling. Boy, that is just hearing myself say that feels so smug and but the thing is, it's true. I'm trying. I guess I'm trying to defend just everyday fare, which is fine, which is absolutely fine. Anyhow, well, is it? It's not. It's not any direction whatsoever. Anywhere near close to whimsical anime. It is the opposite of whimsical anime. It is just basically it is a hero's journey type of story, with a lot of cute animation that works and lots of pretty colors and well done animation, pretty colors, grounded in a hero's journey style story, right? Let's see. One thing I will talk about a little bit, and people kind of hint at the character of Princess Peach. You would call her a Mary Sue. She is absolutely a Mary Sue. There's a spoiler. It's not that big a spoiler. It's not. It's okay. Princess Peach takes Mario wants to come along on this adventure with Princess Peach, and Princess Peach says, "Okay, well here's an obstacle course," and she just goes straight through the obstacle course, no issue whatsoever, right? And then Mario's just like, "Well, if you can get through that, then you can come with my journey, and to help you, here's a magic mushroom." Here's some mushrooms. Here's some drugs, kids. Take your drugs, and you'll have superpowers as well. All right, there's your dangerous message, right? All right, so she gives him some magic mushrooms. It's a funny way of phrasing it, but she gives him some magic mushrooms, and he gets big. He goes Super Mario, and then he goes through the maze, and the first thing, he's down. And so it's a whole like a training montage where he's learning to get better. It's they could just dun 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 dun. They could have done Eye of the Tiger right there, but they didn't, thank God. So maybe they did do a needle drop song. I forget that scene. So that's how memorable. But anyhow, he does the whole thing, and like after the end of the entire night, he's been trying. He gets good, but he still fails at the very end. Not quite perfect yet, so he's not quite there. And he's sitting there with Peach and says, yeah, I'll never get this right. And she's like, "Don't worry about it. It took me a long time to get too." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't believe that." And she's like, yeah, I did. The first time I did it, I did it the first time, right? So she is Mary Sue girl boss. Like she has absolutely no struggle in the story. Again, push my glasses back and don't speak through my nose and talk like James Mason. We talk about the struggles of gender roles in film, right? Right. Well, what I'm saying with that is that she's good at everything from the get-go, no problems whatsoever. Like and then there are some articles that saying, well, it's not really a love interest between the two of them. Oh, there is a little tint of it, but it's not really much there. So she's not the one that saves the day, though. It's going to be Mario that saves the day. Mario has to struggle through all this stuff. Mario gets his butt handed to him throughout the movie. He's constantly getting, beat up. But he's the one that has to. He's the one that perseveres and survives. She never struggles, but she doesn't actually win. She's not the reason why the story or propels the story. And I was just thinking, it's kind of a disservice to girls to have these kind of characters. Because it's like, well, Princess Peach is a girl, right? And she's perfect at everything the first time through. So what does that tell little girls? Oh, if you're not perfect, well, Princess Peach, man, first time she did everything perfectly. You're not a little girl. So I feel like, the Mary Sue stuff, and then again, smug, yes, indeed. obviously the movie's about Mario. It's not called Princess Peach Magic Mushroom Kingdom. It's called Super Mario Brothers. So, I just kind of wish they would have toned down her perfection of everything. Although maybe that's part of the character. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't really matter that much. Again, she's not a central, like she is a central character, but she's not the central character. But it just feels like, it's okay for girls to struggle too, because guess what? In the real world, women struggle with a lot of stuff. I wonder what the Princess Peach's original origin story. She clearly recognizes Mario as human, but she didn't say she grew. She did say she grew up there, right? She came over when she was like a baby. So I don't know. I don't believe I don't believe there's a Mario canon somewhere, right? But in the movie, she comes to the Mushroom Kingdom accidentally as a young child, because they show a little bit of her, growing up there. But yeah. Wait, love story of Mario and Peach is the main thing I look for? No, there's no love story. Peach is almost always made as overpower in the game. That's true. Yeah, Peach is I remember Mario Kart. Peach's Mario Kart would always accelerate really fast. Her and Yoshi's kart were the fastest on acceleration, but slowest max speed. Max speed was the Donkey Kong and Bowser kart. Those are the best max speed, very slow acceleration. So when I played that game, I was always playing as the Toad. Now, I didn't like the Toad. I like to play it as a Koopa Trooper. That was my favorite, because as a kid, I like the color green more than I liked anything else. As an adult now, I like the color red. So, but as a kid, I loved the color green. So I always played as Koopa Troopa, because Koopa Troopa was the best at handling. You see, when I play video games, I'm not very good. If you can probably, I look like I'm good at video games. I look like that because right? I'm a big heavy guy with glasses, and of course I'm going to be good at video games. I'm not. So I liked Koopa's. I liked the ability to turn on a dime, because it allowed me to correct for mistakes. Because I was never very good at lining up things. I could, with being good handling, I was able to micro correct for little tiny mistakes. So I was never very good at I really hated playing the Bowser kart, but I liked playing the Koopa Trooper kart. I liked playing the Yoshi kart too, because it allows you to accelerate for big mistakes. But the thing with the handling wasn't so good on that. And I never played as Mario or Luigi, because I was like, I didn't want just an average of everything. I wanted to max out certain things. So, no, you look good at filmmaking, but not gaming. Obviously not gaming. He's the one that thinks the eye has a frame rate of 10 frames a second. Yeah. But anyhow, it's not, going back to the idea of the love story between Peach and Mario, which I think works better because the love story is between Mario and Luigi. Like, Mario and Luigi Luigi is this is in the trailer. There's no spoiler here. Luigi gets separated from Mario, and Mario spends the rest of the movie trying to get back to Luigi. So Luigi's in a different castle. Luigi's the one that needs to be saved. And in fact, to me, that's a little more interesting rather than Luigi and Mario trying to save Princess Peach. Because when Mario enters the world, he has no idea who Princess Peach even is. So why would he care about trying to save Princess Peach? Right? Princess Peach is not, is nothing to Mario. But Luigi is his family. Luigi is his brother. The bond between Mario and Luigi is very, very strong. It's illustrated in the beginning of the movie. They are inseparable brothers. They're family, right? Your family, bro. Yeah. So it's a little bit of if you were to make, an anime movie of, dang it. The joke is gone now because I can't remember the name of the damn movie. Fast and Furious. So you're trying to make a, Fast and Furious reference, and okay, terrible. Let's move on. Let's continue on with our discussion here. But yeah, no, the family bond between Mario and Luigi, that's the core heart of the movie, and Peach is sort of just the vehicle. And to me, it would have been more interesting to have Peach in there because she's a different character. Luigi's kind of a scaredy cat of everything. Luigi and Mario, to me, are more like just the same character. They're kind of the same character. Whereas Peach is just a completely different dynamic. It just makes it more interesting to have them pair up and ride through the whole movie with those two, rather than ride them through the movie with Mario and Luigi trying to find a princess that none of them have any idea who she is. I will say too and it may be the animation style, or maybe that I'm not familiar enough with the look of the cartoon of Princess Peach. The animation felt a little doll-like in the movie. It felt like she looks like a ceramic doll at times, but I wonder if that's more just the basics of what that character looks like, rather than just that character just looks like a doll. She's kind of like her face is so perfectly proportioned to a doll's eyes, right? No, she has the doll look to her that it doesn't lend itself to like naturalistic kind of squishiness that like Mario has like a super squishy kind of a face, and like she's just more set in stone the way her face looks, right? I don't know how to describe that. I like animation. I'm not that well versed on animation, and I'm talking off the top of my butt, top of my head, which is like talking out of my butt. I saw 65 million reasons not to watch that movie. Anybody else? You're talking about 65 million, the movie? Or the 65, isn't that the one with Adam Driver goes back in time or something like that? There you go. The Fast and the Furio. That's me, a Furio. It always goes back to family. With family. I want to go see tonight, because I hadn't been in the movies in a long time. And but I have that subscription to Regal, it's like $22 a month, and I haven't gone for like 4 months. So I said that Mario movie cost me like $60, dude. I gotta go see some more movies to make that average go down a little bit, because I can't be paying $65 to see a Mario movie. So I was thinking about going and seeing the movie Air. I heard good things about that. It's got Ben Affleck. And Air is the story, I believe, of the character's name is Phil Knight, the guy that took Nike and then brought on Air Jordan, or not Air Jordan, Michael Jordan, to do the Air Jordans and all that. And I'm a sucker for business movies. Like I love business movies. Like one of the most greatest experiences in watching a movie at home in the last like 2 months was watching The Founder. I really enjoyed that movie, and I don't think it's a great movie. I just feel it felt like a comfortable movie. It's like getting into a nice pair of comfortable slippers at home. It's just a nice warm movie. It allowed me to kind of just enjoy it's like they don't make movies like this. They're just kind of depictions of what kind of happened, because it didn't happen. Obviously, no, biopics never happen that way. But it's just, speaking of The Founder, but so I'm looking forward. I think I want to go see that tonight. I'm going to go to the gym tonight because I haven't been in a while, because I've got this crink in my neck. It's just, I don't know why. It might be just from sitting in a lot of office chairs and all that. I did get myself a standing desk at home that goes up and down. So I've tried a little bit, but I've been just not too tired to do a lot of standing and working. But sitting, for some reason, it's like right down here, my neck is killing me. So I want to go to the gym. I might do some laps in the pool. I think that might be the best thing to do. Although when I woke up this morning, I was just dizzy, like super, super dizzy. It took me like until about maybe 2 hours ago, and I didn't feel just really, really dizzy the whole day. So I'm gonna go get some laps and then sit in the jacuzzi and then go see a movie. And that's a great way to spend the evening. How you doing from Russia, Ruska? What's the Ruska? Das Vidanya. I think that's how you say it. I'm totally wrong. But wait, I thought all franchises have canon. Any deviation from it deserves a Wallow Text Internet Rage Fest, especially someone like James Bond too. Isn't an 80s game getting a stupidly big for reasons of keeping the franchise? Oh, maybe I'm jumping ahead on stuff. But remember, Mario wasn't just an 80s game. It's a 90s game too. It's also a 2000s game. You know, because Mario 3 came out like 91 or something, right? Like 90 or 91. You know, the Mario Kart came out later than that. So, and to me, like Mario 1 was just a game. I mean, I never loved Mario 1. I'll be honest. Mario 1 is kind of, it's okay. I don't think anybody loves Mario 1. Mario 3 was a freaking game changer. Like, I think Mario 3, like, blew everybody away. because it expanded Mario's powers way beyond just the flower and the mushroom. That's the only thing you could, and the invincibility star, right? But Mario 3, now you got feathers, now you got, he can throw hammers. For in terms of gaming, it was like, whoa, it totally blew the doors off of everything. And then Mario Kart, which is sort of like, oh, let's take Mario and put him in a racing game, and it makes the other game. You know what the other game I loved? Mario Golf. Dang it, dude! I played so much Mario Golf. Holy moly, I forgot about that. Yeah, Mario Golf was like, I was obsessed with Mario Golf. So, but you start moving Mario outside the thing, Anyhow, Winged It says my founder was good, solid filmmaking. Exactly. It felt like a warm pair of slippers. It just so, and I love every act. I love Michael Keaton. He was great in it. I love the fact that they could, two things, like you can show the hard-nosed bad aspects of capitalism, but you can show that it comes with, it's not all bad. It's good and bad. And I'm going to get an argument with somebody on here that said, no, it's all bad. It's like, no, it's good and bad. It's like, no, you think it's all good. It's like, no, I didn't say that. I think it's good and bad. You take the good, you take the bad, you mix it around, and that's the facts of life. No, it's good and bad. We have to have a little more mature understanding. Speaking of which, mature understanding, that's what I've bothered. So I saw that new trailer for Indiana Jones, and there's a part of it where the characters are all trading, but like, you stole the artifact from me. Well, I stole it from Hitler. And you stole it from me. Then he stole it from Indiana Jones, and we all stole it. And then Phoebe Waller-Bridge says, "Oh, that's just called capitalism." It's like, it's kind of a cheap joke, and it doesn't really make sense because, I don't know, name another system of economic organization in which that wouldn't have happened. Because I think socialism would work that way. And communism, I don't think they would steal from anybody, right? Oh, no, that's right. What about feudalism? Oh, no. Feudalism would never steal from each other. What about just a dumb joke? Whatever. It's virtue signaling flag. So, just quick, while we're on the subject of the new Indiana Jones movie, trailer 2, markedly better, in my opinion, markedly better than trailer 1. Trailer 1 was terrible. Trailer 2, markedly better. However, I can't watch the taste of my mouth. It looks like Avengers Endgame version of, or my friend was actually saying, it looks like Back to the Future 2, where basically, like, Indiana Jones gets his little dial of destiny, and he's able to go back in time and watch himself in his old movies, and then be part of the background scenery. Like, all right. If I had to pay for a ticket, I probably wouldn't see it. But if I did have but the fact I do have a subscription means I probably will see it, because why not? It's free. Mario Tennis, Dr. Mario, and Mario Kart were all amazing. Dr. Mario, oh my God, that was nice. I never played Mario Tennis. But yeah, Mario. Dr. Mario was a lot of fun. It's funny because, I think that game was that game was like a reskin. They're all reskins, right? Like, even Mario 2 is a reskin of another game. They thought, oh, we can make it a Mario game, and that's why Mario 2 has none of the mechanics that you'll see in any other game. What did I put up? What comment? I didn't remember what. Mario 2 is still going strong. My youngest brother grew up with Mario Odyssey from 2017. There you go, and has been begging me to play it ever since. My friend was talking about loving Galaxy, and I'm pretty sure I played Galaxy because I had a Wii at one point, was it Mario? Yeah, Mario Galaxy. But Mario teaches typing. There you go. We got to have that. In the next version, I want to see him sitting there like, okay, boys and girls, type up Goomba. All right. No, Mario did not teach me how to type. It was Mavis Beacon taught me how to type. Count for comments says, in capitalism, men oppresses men. In socialism, the opposite happens. So true. Yeah, like, I don't know. Name something else. I had one student turn in an assignment. So every week I have him do viewing assignments. So what I asked him to do, if If you were in my class, you would be asked to do watch a movie, a video, or a television show, or an advertisement. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Watch something, and then write 100 words telling me what you thought about it and how you would incorporate it in your work. And so this one student turned in a project where he watched Avatar 2, and I had just given a lecture about propaganda. Like I was talking about how it was in the course of discussing the history of documentary. And when you get to the certain period in documentary history, namely the 30s and 40s, you start seeing a lot of governments realize, hey, we can use the power of film to make propaganda, right? And so I was talking about Leni Riefenstahl. I was talking about how, the Americans' response to try to get Americans engaged in the war, dealing with Frank Capra, hiring Frank Capra to produce the series Why We Fight. So I was kind of discussing propaganda, not necessarily in a bad light, but I'm saying propaganda is a tool used by governments and used by whatever forces, whatever. But I'm not saying it necessarily a bad way. If you agree with propaganda, then obviously it's not propaganda to you, although it is propaganda. That's the point of that. So he was saying, he's looking at the hidden messages of Avatar, and he was kind of, pondering about it. And he said, I wonder if it's me, saying that how awful, because the humans are the antagonists and they're so awful, and maybe it says about our human nature. And I wrote back and I said, it's fun to think about Avatar 2. Perhaps you can think about it as propaganda for the Na'vi people, because the Na'vi have no discernibly bad characteristics at all. They're perfect. They're a perfect example of of an intelligent species. They have absolutely nothing. They live in perfect harmony. They never do anything bad, right? And it sounds kind of propagandistic to me. So anyhow, I don't know where I was going with that, other than to say that I thought it was rather propaganda. Rather than stretch it out, the crink in my neck. I was trying to do that last night, where just stretching my I want to do some swimming just because I need to get a little bit more movement and exercise. But I've been trying to last night when I was stretching it out, I heard crackling in my arm socket, but tonight I don't hear it anymore. Maybe it's getting better. I thought the Black Panther CGI in the new in the new. That Black Panther CGI is in the new Indiana Jones. I think it's Black Panther's Marvel guy. Just kidding with you. One thing I was just saying, I said it many times on here before. Disney needs to come up with some new freaking ideas. Google the new releases from Disney and try to see all the new movies that are coming out from Disney. And as far as I looked in the next 2 years, there might be 2 original stories out of 18 or 20. 2 original stories. And it would, it's kind of annoying. And I guess it makes business sense. You own the rights to Indiana Jones, so let's make another Indiana Jones film. But look back at, now that Brendan Fraser won his Oscar, we all look back fondly at the movie The Mummy. The Mummy is a ripoff of Indiana Jones, but it's an original ripoff. I would rather have an original ripoff of Indiana Jones than to constantly come back and, Indiana Jones from Beyond the Grave. I'm just stop and make something new, or give one of us who's watching this channel, give me, I don't care, anybody, an opportunity to make something different. And I realize, because, the audience is fickle, and maybe I got to blame the audience too. Audience guys, demand original stuff and stop going and seeing all these franchises. Just stop it. Look for something new. Don't be afraid to experience new stuff. I guess maybe they don't get on my soapbox. It's partly our fault too. We don't take a risk as much as we need to, as far as entertainment, which is why I love taking a freaking risk. Speaking of trailers, Barbie came out trailer, and I must say the Barbie movie trailer made me very happy. I am sold to see Barbie. I am comfortable enough in my heterosexuality to want to see a movie with a lot of very pretty girls, and very that's I know a lot of people are going to say I'm gay for wanting to see a movie with pretty girls in it, but I feel like that's not gay. Just me, right? So the Barbie movie, I am definitely going to see. I am looking forward to it. And I love the new meme that's come out, because they had a Barbie poster campaign where it was all like, this is Barbie, this is the Barbie, but she's the mayor, this is the Barbie thing, and then people were like, this is also Barbie. He's he is death, destroyer of worlds. And it's Oppenheimer. But yeah. A Barbie movie. It comes out the day before my birthday, so that's my birthday present. It's going to be a Barbie movie, Barbie, because I think it's going to probably be. I think it's going to be probably like a Lego movie. So the funny thing is, I put that on Facebook. I said, "Hey, I'm comfortable with my heterosexuality. See a movie about pretty girls," and a friend of mine said, "He said, well, I'm also comfortable. I'm not interested in seeing it, but my kids will drag me to it. So that's what it is." And then I realized the Barbie movie will appeal to kids. This is how inside my own little world I am, right? Here I am thinking I'm an adult and that only adults would be interested in the Barbie movie. Like, no, there's going to be a lot of kids going to the Barbie movie. And I don't know how I feel about that, because I don't think I think it's going to be safe for kids, but I don't think it's a kids movie. I think it's an adult tongue-in-cheek kind of humor movie. We'll find out, right? So we'll find out. I need to see Tar. 2022 was an incredible year. 2022 was a kind of a mixed bag. I mean, definitely EEAO. That was like out of nowhere. I need to see Tar. You also throw in there like Top Gun. So there was some good stuff. But I think there's also a lot of like misses, and the summer blockbuster didn't have a lot of crowd entertaining movies. Again, it's all pandemic, related, because 2022 releases were all made in 2021, which is still middle of shutdown and all that crap. I think we're going to get over it. I think we're definitely over that. While Disney reused a lot of animation for economic reasons, they also used to create a lot of original content, both in television and film. Yeah. Disney has, I'm sure Disney, there are people internally Disney concerned. There's got to be. You have to be seeing. If I can see it, they can see it, right? They have to know. They need to be course correct, and they need to course correct fast, because they're just bleeding out. They need to. The other thing that really pissed me off about Disney. All right, let's talk about it. So when I made that Fox history video, and I made it right about the time when Disney took over Fox. And I thought, wow, that's great. I'm going to have a Disney Plus subscription, which gives me the entire catalog of Fox. And that'll be great. And I'll be able to watch any Fox release. No. Disney Plus in the United States would limit you to the Disney library. The Fox library, it's kind of scattered all over the place, but it wasn't available through Disney Plus. And I think, as I understood it, in Europe, you could have bought a Fox bundle over there in Europe. It was like, so all this hoopla for buying Fox to pad out your streaming service, and you don't even use it, you don't even put it in your streaming service? So that's, like, Disney Plus is going to be in a lot of trouble too. Did I see the new Mission Impossible back behind the scenes? Gotta hand it to Cruise. Yeah. I mean, Cruise is a big hero, but, always remember that BTS stuff is all marketing. So, I'm sure, look, hanging Cruise off the side of an airplane is definitely not a safe thing to do. But do you think they really would put the $1 billion asset in any real danger? I mean, look, it's scary. Is there any real danger? I mean, yeah, a little bit, but not really. You wouldn't do that. So they'll obviously, all the stunts, they have lots and lots and lots and uber safety things to, because if Cruise gets hurt in any which way, he has to be out of the film for, months to recover and heal. So they can't take a lot of risk with him. They will tell you they are, because they'll want you to build up that mythos around him so that you go see his movies. And there's nothing wrong with that. And and sure. And the thing is, I bet you he does do a lot more. He does seem to care more. It could be the marketing speaking. It appears like he cares more about the work than a lot of other filmmakers. But that, again, marketing. It's all marketing. Watch them. It's all marketing. Yeah, movies do lie, and so does their promotion. The one part about trailer where Ken wanting to beat each other definitely made it feel like it's going to be a kind of adult. Yeah, same thing with the whole part where Ken and Barbie is like, Ken's like, I want to stay over tonight, and Barbie's like, and do what? And Ken's like, I don't know. It's like, well, that's an adult joke. That's definitely an adult joke. Keanu Reeves, there's another example of a top screen hero. I would say Nick Offerman. Just kidding. I do love Nick Offerman, though. Every kids movie is tongue-in-cheek nowadays. We need more genuine, serious kids movies, more Willow and the Secret of Nim. Well, Mario Brothers Mario Brothers does not have a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff. Mario Brothers is pretty sincerely aimed at family, and it's not a very not a tongue-in-cheek. Ryan Gosling is too old to play Ken. I don't know. He looks fine to me. He looks like Ken doll. He actually does look a lot like Ken doll in the movie. So I don't see it. I think it's fine. He jumped off a cliff on a bike to parachute down in camera. Who else does that? And yes, that's good marketing. Yeah, I just think, I don't know what parts he did and how the safety rigging was done for that. I'm just saying, like, he'll do stuff, but remember, like, he can't put himself in such a precarious situation where he would take himself. And remember back in the day, COVID days, when they were shooting one of the Mission Impossibles, there was a recording of Tom Hanks going nuts because somebody didn't follow COVID protocols. And he was berating them. He had a very good point. He says, you guys are putting the production in danger by not wearing a mask or whatever it was, right? So he was like, you know, if we don't follow these COVID protocols, they will shut us down. Then all these people that are depending on me to make this movie and make money, and the people that that pay off their house payments, that put food on the table, they can't be paid if you don't follow these protocols, if you don't do these things, if we don't get sick. If Tom Cruise were to get hurt, all those people would be out of a job. So he can't necessarily be like, you know, you got to wear a mask because you're putting the production at risk. And then him jumping off of taking a motorbike and, you know, flying off a cliff. Yeah, he's got to be some safety protocols. There's got to be some safety involved that we don't know of. All right. He can jump on and off a couch. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Whoa, John, I just thought of something. Many years copyright lasts after the creator dies. What if the decider makes the person public domain? What if they decide that makes the person public domain? Well, not quite, because you can't make a person public domain. Copyright doesn't cover people. Copyright only protects the work of a person. Copyright protects the expressed version of an idea, not the idea, but the expressed creation, right? So that's why they say copyright's a property rights, intellectual property, right? A person is not intellectually property, right? It wouldn't cover. Does that make sense? He can, because he's the main producer, cover his own insurance. They showed him doing all the BTS, which is why I asked if you saw it. No, I haven't seen it. But again, my point stands. Now you can have the insurance, but it's still, you'd have to, you basically if you were to delay the movie, right, that would delay the release date. That would delay everything. That would screw everything up. There is stuff, what I'm saying is, you are watching marketing. You are watching the legend being built. Don't buy it. You know, enjoy it, look into it, but don't swallow it hook, line, and sinker. Right? Wait until resurrection starts to appear, then copyright material will be eternal. The question, yeah, I mean, that's a legitimate question. What happens if you did what happens if we had to create a pill that would extend your life 200 years? So what would happen if you would have people that are living 200 years, you know, dying at the age of 200? Like, then your copyright would be owned. The thing with that is, then yeah, the copyright would last as long as the person's alive. Because under current copyright theory, is that the intellectual property is the property of the person, right? Like, just because I wrote something 20 years ago doesn't mean I still don't have ownership of that. If I were to build a chair out of wood 20 years ago, like I don't have to give up that chair after 30 years. It still belongs to me. Same idea with the work, with the physical work of putting words or bits together in a particular sequence, right? That is still work. It doesn't, just because it's a certain amount of time has passed doesn't mean it just automatically belongs to everybody. Now, the argument against that obviously is that ideas need, culture relies on the free reassembly of that work. That's the way culture works. That's, you take stuff that's just out there and then you reimagine it and put it together and put this here and that. Now, a lot of that's covered under kind of free expression, right? So if I can take the ideas from Mario Brothers, I can take the ideas from Sonic and come up with something that's kind of similar, but not in any way related to any of those, not tying those, but I'm taking those ideas, those concepts, and reimagining them and create something new. That's not affecting their copyright, right? But if you've had people living 200 years, you could stagnate culture. So if we get to the point where life extension becomes so much longer than that, yeah, we're going to have to revisit copyright. And and the thing to remember about copyright, we're always constantly revisiting copyright. It's never static. Like copyright has always been challenged. Copyright always, reemerges and changes over time. But also remember too, U.S. copyright is not necessarily U.S. copyright. It is part of the Berne Convention, and we have to be inside the big giant global treaty as far as copyright, or else otherwise, countries will not be able to work together as far as working with copyright. So it's complicated. It's way more. It's really quite complicated. Oh, deep fakes are another terrible thing too. I was watching this one on Twitter, and somebody posted this thing from supposedly Morgan Freeman. And first of all, it didn't quite look like Morgan Freeman, but they said, hey, it's Morgan Freeman. But then you see a little bit of the face kind of like jiggle a little bit that doesn't look natural. You're like, that's a fake. The people were like, that's Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman just like called out the president, and Joe Biden's an MFer, that kind of thing. It's like, that wasn't Morgan Freeman though. First of all, it didn't look like Morgan Freeman. Not really. And then two, didn't sound like Morgan Freeman. We did a sketch way back when these live shows were trying to be more, I was trying to be more produced with these live shows instead of just kind of coming on and just chatting with you guys, which I find that I enjoy doing this much more. I look forward to our chats here. But when we were trying to be more produced and have like more of a nightly show look to it, we did a sketch where it was, me and my friends owned a pawn shops kind of store. It was like a parody of Pawn Stars. We call it Film Stars because all we did was film memorabilia. And we had one character who brought in a box. It's like a bloody box. And it's like, my mom was a prop designer on the movie Seven. And I just brought the box. And so we want to see if it's authenticated. So in order to authenticate it, we had to call up my buddy. I got to call my buddy up, right? He's gonna help me figure out if this is real or not. So my buddy was Morgan Freeman. So we got a Morgan Freeman impersonator from Fiverr to just do the, yes, this is indeed the box. I remember Cheryl. She and I spent a lovely evening together on the set of Seven. And, so that, I thought I might get in trouble for that. No one cares about that. But, yeah, don't deep fake stuff. Anyhow. How often do I get asked about frame rate? Not very often. I mean, I get hate comments every once in a while on channel for random reasons. I do find that every time I talk about frame rate on YouTube, my numbers will blow up. So guess what you're going to watch more of? But I do promise you, if I talk about frame rate, I will talk about frame rate in a way I haven't talked about before. I won't say I'll never. I will try not to ever recover old ground. I hate that because I felt like I've already made the video. If I already made a video about the history of frame rate, why would I need to make another video? Just watch that first video. I'm not Disney. I don't need to freaking remake every goddamn. Sorry. Watch the original video. I'm not going to do a remake or a sequel. However, there's still so many different little aspects to talk about as far as frame rate. How many times am I asked about frame rate? I mean, not so much anymore. I think some of those videos have been kind of fallen out of favor of the YouTube algorithm. That last video, the frame rate of the human eye, did gangbusters. It's probably on track to do better than the Avatar video as far as I think in the long term. In the long term, it'll do a lot better because Avatar 2, people will forget about Avatar 2 just as fast as people forgot about Avatar. Let's be frank here, guys. Come on, seriously. But the frame rate of the human eye is a much more interesting question. The funny thing about that, and I will talk about that every frame of question, exactly. He gets asked about at least 24 times a second. There you go. Very good. Well done. Well done. What was I saying? As far as 24, or sort of frame rate. Oh, the frame of the human eye. You guys sidetracked me here. Frame of the human eye. It's interesting because I've had a lot of people get very, very angry about that video. What none of them realize is that everything I say in that video supports the idea that gamers should have higher frame rates in their screens. None of that discounts it at all. In fact, I've done all my, I can't say it is perfectly, I can't say everything is absolutely perfect. And I worded every single tiny utterance in that absolutely perfectly, but I did my homework in that one. And I did try to make sure that what I was presenting to you guys is what even the people that study frame rate and displays understand. Like I've read, people say, dude, you need to read Blurbusters, man. You need to go to Blurbusters and read some of that stuff because you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, bitch, I started my research on Blurbusters. Like Blurbusters is like the start of my research. The problem with Blurbusters, though, is Blurbusters has a goal, which is to bust blur. That's their objective, is to bust blur. Their objective is not to understand human vision. Their objective is to craft the screen in such a way that it will not induce blur when you're in your game in high frame rate gaming. Their objective is not to present 24 frames per second in its absolutely best experience. That's not their goal of that site. That goal of the site is to enhance the viewing experience from the monitor's perspective. But if you actually sit and you read the articles, you can pull out the information to try to understand why perhaps 24 frames per second doesn't look good on this kind of display versus that kind of display. I do have a couple comments in the forums, hoping maybe the Mark Rayhold or something like that, Mark is his first name, that the founder of Blurbusters might throw me a response here. But everything I've been doing is being congruent with their understanding of the science. So nothing in the video at all counters any of that. But man, oh man, I get the comment, "You're stupid. You're ridiculous. This is so you don't know what you're talking about." And then I have one guy this is what's frustrating. If you're going to leave a comment and you're going to start to argue with me, right? Don't delete your comment. Because I spent a lot of time answering your comment. And there are other people that are reading that might also have the same thoughts that you do. They'll want to see the exchange. And if I'm being rude to you, which is usually because you're rude to me, people might be entertained by that. Let's be honest. You came here are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Right? So but this one guy kept deleting his comment thread. So I would respond back. And he said, "Please don't talk about me in the next video." Well, guess what? Piano dude, whatever your name was, I'm talking about you. But he's like, "I'm going to send this video to Blurbusters. I want to see what they said." I said, "Go right ahead." By the way, here's a tweet from your founder of Blurbusters saying 10 frames a second. That's where motion begins. Blurbusters said it too. Now, you guys, the thing with Blurbusters, people go there and they play with the little UFO tests. And then they just derive whatever bullshit in their own head. They don't actually read the articles. Because you know how I know? Because those articles are hard to read. I'll be honest. They're on the scientific end. They are not layman articles. What I do is layman. I don't do scientific. I do layman, maybe upper echelon of layman, but my stuff is layman. I'm not kidding. We are laymen. I don't throw all these acronyms at you. I try to be extremely careful on how I word things in a way that is scientifically accurate, but not such a way that it's like, I don't know what you said kind of thing. I don't always succeed. Anyhow, that's my rant. Many don't like to debate. They just want to get the last word in. That describes me. I will usually tire out commenters because they won't come back after a while because it's my channel. The whole frame rate topic is interesting, and YouTube knows it. Yeah, yeah. So, Wing IT, do I have to? Do you like Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker? I think Rise of Skywalker is the worst piece of crap ever. We've talked about it. I'm not going to go anymore. What's wrong with Blur? Yeah, Blur is good for movies. Blur is not good for gaming. That's the thing. People forget about it. The next, I think. So let me jump on this one comment here. Linus Tech Tips, they show you get more headshots with 144 and 240 hertz compared to 60 and 30. Interesting video, but has nothing to do with your focus on 24. Exactly. And the other thing, the thing that people get wrong about my video, about 144 and 240, even if your eye has no frame rate, even if your eye sees 10 frames a second in a conceptual idea, because remember, how many times in the video do I have to say the eye has no frame rate? I say it at least 7 times. And yet, no idiot hears it. They don't hear when I say your eye sees 10 frames a second, but you also have no frame rate. How many times do I put the graphic on the screen? Dude, you're an idiot. You think that a human's eye sees 10 frames a second? Are you a fucking moron? Sorry, I'm cursing. Fucking morons, right? I can say it over and over again. It doesn't matter. But, bring it back. Pull the brakes. Okay. If your eye saw 10 frames a second, you can see the difference between a 240 hertz monitor and a 300 hertz monitor. You can see the difference between 30 and 60. You can see the difference because a camera shooting at 24 frames a second can see the difference. Like, the frame rate of the eye doesn't mean you can't see a difference. And being able to see the difference might mean you get better headshots in your CSGO game. It might give you that extra bit of detail you need to be a more competitive gamer. But it has nothing to do with the frame rate of the eye. That's what was so frustrating about my discussion with some of these people. And then I get the comment too occasionally. It's like, well, the real question isn't the frame rate of the eye. It's how fast the screen needs to be perfectly real. No, that's not the real question. The real question is, what is the frame rate of the eye? That is the question I posed. You're asking a separate question. It's like coming in my video about the color of, asking me the color of orange. Well, even though your video is about the color of oranges, I really want to know the color of strawberries. That's what we're really here for. Like, no. Like, the problem is people cannot dissect a topic. Okay, if you want to understand how fast the screen needs to refresh in order to be perfectly reality simulated, you need to understand that the eye has no frame rate. You can't go into that thinking the eye has a frame rate. If you try to answer that question with the concept of the eye has this frame rate, then the answer is simple. Just set the display to the frame rate of the human eye. You're done. But the eye has no frame rate. Therefore, you can't just set the monitor to the frame rate of the eye because the eye doesn't work that way. So, anyhow. Yep. Rise and shout. Something interesting, the blind spot. We have a reactionary portion of the brain that reacts faster than our speed of processing of an image. Well, a blind sight. Blind sight. Yeah. That's the thing. For med school, right? You threw me. I thought you were saying blind spot. The blind spot's another example, right? Close your eye. There's a piece when you go to the optometrist and they make you play that little game where you have to close an eye and then stare at the thing and look and click the button to fire the missiles at the little dots that pop up, right? They're testing your blind spot, right? Because we have blind spots in our vision. How do you explain that? How do you explain that if your eye is a frame? It doesn't. There's so much stuff with human vision. And that's the thing that truly grinds my gears, right? Is that there's so much interesting stuff about human vision. The McGurk effect, blind sight, blind spot, optical illusions. Do we trust eyewitnesses in a court, really? Do we trust eyewitnesses to necessarily tell the truth or know what they saw in a testimony? All this stuff. It's way more than your simplistic view of the eye has a frame rate. The eye is like a camera. No, it's way, 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 way bigger than that. Yep, there you go. Yeah, blind sight is when blind people still react to have reflexes to movements during something like being thrown at them, but they'll never actually see the image again. Isn't that crazy? Right? Because it might be because like the eye has some processing going on. Maybe that and the problem, the blindness is a brain issue, but the eye still perceives light and stuff like that. Crazy, isn't that fascinating? There's so much out there, but no, your eye sees 500 frames a second. That's it. Open your mind. All right. Did I get on my soapbox yet? Did I get it on it yet, or do I need to still get it out some more? Right? All right, never mind. I listed 2 other movies. I didn't even talk about them. Fair as a Sky Pilot here in a couple weeks to try and back to use the show as a missionary platform. Maybe it's something else. I don't know what you're talking about. Gotcha. All right. I remember when Star Wars have the most loyal fan base and all the nerd pop in the world stronger than comic games. And yep, not so much anymore, is it? I've gotten away with 6 FPS in animation before. Yeah, so a couple things with 6 I mean, 10 to 12 is what they study as the phi phenomenon and beta movement, right? Could I tell you exactly the difference between phi phenomenon and beta movement? No. Honestly, it's a very bizarre. It's the distinction is very weird. I don't even understand it. But like this study comes from like basically having a row of lights and then figuring out, how fast do they move before you start to sense like a movement rather than just individual frames, right? 6 FPS would be in this what the graphic nerds would call slideshow mode, right? You can sense that there might be some movement. Your brain can imagine there would be movement. Maybe there's a meta experiment, like a meta understanding, like, oh yeah, it's a flip book kind of thing. Those are close. So I'm going to imagine that there's movement in there, but it's not really triggering a movement experience in the viewer. But you can imagine there's a movement experience there. That's the thing about vision too. It's like that gets me is that vision happens like maybe I'll put a percentage on it, but don't quote me. Maybe 10% happens in the eye, and 90% happens up here. Like this is vision. This is just some sensory organ. Vision happens back here, right? That's that. So I can see why you can do a 6 FPS animation. You can do a 3 FPS animation, and it will have a character, but it's not really motion at that point, right? So anyhow, going back. Do you like any biblical epics? Yes, I love. I watched Ben-Hur the other night. That was pretty good. I did watch like Jesus Christ, Last Temptation of Christ. Other Bible epics. I mean, the classic ones. So you should probably watch it this weekend, right? The Moses story, the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments is such a long, epic movie, right? You have to kind of. It's interesting watching some of those, like Ben-Hur too. Like if you watch Ben-Hur, it's such a different experience than watching the new Ben-Hur. I didn't even watch the new one, but the way that's shot is so big. Like everything, all the shots are long. Maybe they'll do a cut in close up, but they let things play out much longer, much longer. So I'm trying to think of other biblical epics I watched. I don't remember, but happy Easter first of all for anybody that's celebrating for tomorrow. Pretty much the holiest day of the Christian New Year. So, and I'm not that big of a practicing Christian, but I've been very interested in theology lately. Very interested in it. So it's going to be, I'll probably spend some time looking into that tonight. The eye isn't like a camera. Camera is like an eye. Big difference. I'd even take some issue with that. I think the better answer is the camera is a human invention to trick the eye into seeing something it didn't see. So I told on Twitter, actually got in a little exchange. The frame rate is a human invention to fool biology, but biology has no frame rate. If that follows that. When does appreciation for something become nostalgia? I don't know what that distinction would be. Yeah, that's a good question. That's a nice ponderous question for an interesting discussion. When does appreciation for something become nostalgia? Probably time. I think nostalgia obviously has something to do with time and the yearning for being younger, right? Because I'm like today I'm 40 years old, and when I was a high schooler, you go to McDonald's and get cheeseburgers for 5 cents on Fridays. Now, do I appreciate the fact that I can get cheeseburgers for 5 cents today? I can understand that from a very economic standpoint. I can understand that from a pocketbook view of things. However, there is something about being nostalgic of being a teenager, going to McDonald's, spending 25 cents for you would get more than you get like 25 cents. You get like 5 little mini cheeseburgers. I would eat like maybe 1 or 2. Get some fries. They used to have a bucket of fries for 99 cents, like a literal one of these buckets of fries, right? And I would take those 2 cheeseburgers. I would eat 2, and then I'd put the rest in the refrigerator. And I would take one of the cheeseburgers on Friday night. I would go over to a friend's house that he did, an acquaintance friend, not a good friend, but an acquaintance friend. I would go find some traffic cones on the side of a road, a construction. I would steal a traffic cone. I would go to their house like 1 o'clock at night. I would put the traffic cone in front of their driveway and put a cheeseburger on the traffic cone in the middle of the night. I would try to do this as quietly as possible, right? So that Monday morning, when we get to school, my friend would say, "Dude, somebody left the cheeseburger on a traffic cone in front of my house." And you'd be like, "What does that mean, dude? That's freaking crazy. Like, what does that even mean?" Like, I'd be scared, dude. So, that's not appreciation. That's a little bit of nostalgia, I think. That's a very, very weird. It's a weird place where we got this streamed, huh? Kind of weird, huh? All right. I saw one of those frame rate comparisons, and it's fascinating how the illusion of motion really starts around 10. Suddenly, it felt like the audio was in sync with the video. Interesting. So one of the other videos okay, I'll tell you this right now. The next video I thought was going to be on Flickr and black frame insertion. I was wrong about black frame insertion. Frame rate guy on YouTube. I've been preaching the beauty of black frame insertion for the last 2 years. I never made a video about it. I was going to make the next video about the amazingness of black frame insertion. And then when I really hardcore tested it, nope, it's not black frame insertion. Now, to be fair, the reason why I thought it was black frame insertion was because my Sony OLED TV, the AJ80, I think it's called, it looks so good. When I turn on the black frame insertion, it looks so good. I'm telling you guys, that OLED TV, the motion on 24 on that OLED TV. Remember OLED. OLED's a problem with 24. The motion looks so good. It looks as good as what I see in the theater. So I assume that black frame insertion was the reason why. It's not black frame insertion. It's what Sony does with the picture. It's what Sony scans the picture up and down, like it bands it. So the refresh is like that. What is black frame insertion? Let me tell you. I mean, I should tell you more. I got to rewrite the video. I got to completely rewrite the video now, but I'll tell you. So black frame insertion takes an image and inserts a frame of black between every frame. Okay. The idea with that is there's 2 things that involve what they call blur when you're watching a screen. This is the subject of blur busters. Again, you have to get through pretty deep, dense reading to understand it, but it's doable. So when you track something across the screen, what you're seeing is the image flash here, and your eye keeps moving. Then it flashes here. The eye keeps moving and it flashes. So it's like right? So the longer that it stays there, as your eye is moving, your eye is creating a motion blur. Because the image is staying still, but your eye is moving. So there's a little bit of motion blur. Boop, motion blur. Boop, right there. Now, the way you can slow that down is either, one, increase the frame rate. So if you move it faster, there's less motion blur. The other way to do it is to reduce what's called the MPRT, motion picture response time. If you see it, boop, and it's gone, your eye doesn't see your eye can't make a blur as it goes to the next part. Boop, and it's gone, right? So those are the two ways of doing reducing motion blur with what's called black frame. That's what black frame insertion is. The thing is, though, it only really works if you have the frames between every frame. So 24 frames a second, if you were to put a black frame between every 24, the flicker would drive you mad because it would flicker 24 times a second. And that's not good. That's just too, flickery, right? We talked about this in movies, right? The projectors. So you have to at least double it. You have to go to 48. You might triple it to 72. The thing is, though, if you flash it 3 times as your eye's tracking it, you're going to flash off, flash off, flash off. It's still there. It's still there, and it's still going to cause the motion blur. In fact, it's not going to blur so much. You're going to see triplicates. You're going to see, if you're doing three flashes, you're going to see 3 sets of 3, sets of 3, sets of 3, sets of 3. And I realized that's so black frame insertion for 24 FPS doesn't really work. Instead, what you really need, and this is what I have out there, is you kind of need the frame to sort of fade out, then come back, fade out. Not fade out, but fade from one image to the next image. So as your eyes, and this doesn't necessarily help the motion blur as you're tracking an object, but if you're your eye is focused on just one thing in a scene, which most movies, your eye is just focused on something. You're not usually tracking stuff, and you're watching a movie. Having the frames kind of blend into the next frame sort of reduces the amount of stutter in an image. Again, I haven't gone through this entire. I haven't talked all the way through. So you're just getting, you brave viewers of my stream are getting a very, very, very early draft of what I'm trying to talk about here. It's almost a sort of motion smoothing. It's not quite motion smoothing, but it's almost a form of motion smoothing. It's that idea that by reducing the way the frames kind of blend, instead of having a sharp cutoff between the frames, they sort of blend into the next frame, blend into the next frame. It reduces that stutter effect. You still have that 24 judder, which is that 24 look of 24 frames a second, but you don't have the hard stutter that modern displays have. So takeaway is the reason why people hate 24, the reason why gamers hate 24 frames a second is because gaming monitors make it look worse than like a 60 hertz monitor. OLEDs make it work worse than the old-fashioned televisions that has something called a long pixel response time, which allows you to have that morph from gray from one shot to the next shot. They take a little more time to go. And I think the way the Sony works is the way the rolling scanner works is it kind of behaves in some of the similar fashion. Like the image scans real fast, so you're only getting a short time, but as it's scanning, it sort of softens the stutter between. I don't know. That's what I'm working on. I'm still trying to get hold of blur busters to kind of tell me. Anyhow. Like Go Motion as an analogy, almost, I guess. Think of it like as the way I discovered it was by taking my camera and putting it in slow motion. I realized my Canon C70 shoots 180 frames a second. I realized my GoPro shoots 240, so that's a great one. I put my GoPro and shooting a monitor. If you shoot a high refresh monitor like 144 hertz, the frames almost instantly turn to the next frame. Like that. But if you shoot a 60 hertz monitor, it's on the screen, and then about 10 milliseconds it fades into the next one. 10 milliseconds fades into the next one, like that. And so that little bit of that softens. If you think about like in terms of frequency, like a square wave has a very high frequency during that square wave hit. That's a very high frequency, but a sloping wave is a much lower frequency. So the high frequency, it pushes that stutter. It magnifies the stutter. Whereas a slow frequency change minimizes the stutter, and that's what we're used to seeing is the minimal stutter. So essentially, you're adding motion blur in a sense, right? Clickbait title, do we need white frame insertion? I think the name of the video is going to be why your gaming monitor sucks for watching movies, because that's kind of what it is. Sounds like a racial thing. You should hear me talking about crushing the blacks. Okay, don't get me in trouble for saying crushing the blacks. I got in trouble for calling a female model talent. Oh, what do you mean by talent? Anyhow, never mind. Go motion. I think Go motion. You're talking about like Phil. Yeah, I think he was talking about Phil Tippett's work, slow motion. But when you're trying to create that motion blur between the shots, I think that's what he was getting at. I wonder if there are videos on YouTube simulating it. So no, in a way, because here's the problem. So if you're talking about black frame insertion, I was going to show 60 frames a second with a frame of black in between, and it works. If you were to show a box moving across the screen at 30 frames a second, and then you insert a black frame between every 30th of a second, so it becomes 60 frames a second with a black frame in between, and then compare it to a 60 frame a second video, then yes, the 30-second stream, the box, will look identical to the 60 frames a second, except for the fact that it flickers like crazy. That's the problem. YouTube's cap is 60 frames a second. So you can't insert a higher frequency flicker other than 30. 30 is the max you can do, and 30 is not very useful because you can see 30 frames a second flicker, the 30 hertz flicker. This rolling scan I'm talking about my Sony, I'm shooting at 240 frames per second on my GoPro. I cannot catch it. I can catch it. The flicker, the roll scan actually does take about 3 frames to get through the entire, which equates to about 12 milliseconds, which is about right compared to the old monitors. But you can't actually, I can't freeze it and see a line like you would see in an interlaced screens. I don't know how wide it is or what it is. I can't freeze them. So it's got to be super fast. I don't know how fast. We're talking about hardware. This is all hardware based. So I don't know how fast it is. Rise and Shout, thank you for the super chat. Love the videos. Keep it good. Got to go. Take care, Rise and Shout. Thank you so much for the super chat. Double my payment this month for YouTube. Anyhow, I know I will talk about this forever if you will let me. But I don't, obviously, I know a lot of people get sick and tired of me talking about frame rate. And I think it's fascinating. Again, the thing, I think that the ultimate, if you were to boil it down to here's the thing. You can't expect a tool designed for a certain purpose to work perfectly on all purposes. If I buy a hammer, I shouldn't be upset that I can't drive a screw with it, right? If I buy a screwdriver, I can't be upset that I can't drive a nail with it. So if you buy a gaming monitor, you can't expect it to work miracles on 24 FPS footage because it's not designed for 24 frames per second footage. Conversely, if I buy a monitor that's got slower, what's called gray-to-gray response, that works really good for watching movies, I can't expect that to be really good at playing video games as well. Now, maybe there's ways, theoretically, if you have a high enough frame rate, you could simulate the look of a lower frame rate by using software to maybe introduce longer gray-to-gray kind of things. Maybe that's probably what they're working on right now. Maybe it's what some companies do with their televisions, is to fake a little bit of that slower refresh. But, unless... but right out of the box, you can't say, well, this technique of handling high frame rate gaming is going to work perfectly for handling 24 FPS movie watching. Different thing. So, but that nuance is, of course, going to get lost, and I'm going to be called a flaming idiot before just even talking about stuff like that. Why not? Well, I know you're not leaving. I'm just saying that you're not just you that are tired of hearing me talk about frame rate. It's just, I'm sure a lot of people are tired of talking about frame rate. You just missed the UFC knockout because I looked at me for a second talking about human eye frame rate. What will we do about that? Rise and Shine is also a flaming idiot. We're all flaming idiots. We're all tools. We're all tools. Every tool is a hammer to some degree. And when all you have is a hammer, everything is a nail, right? So, yeah. So that's the story with frame rate. I was trying to explore the settings on my TV. Because I was doing the test with the GoPro and just shooting the GoPro. So I said, well, let me test these out watching an actual movie, because the experiments I was demonstrating was way too hardcore. So I tested it out I just reached for the first action movie that I saw. It was Ready Player One. I was watching different versions of Ready Player One, and I didn't realize that my TV switches settings between my I can plug in a USB. It's like, oh, here's nothing with motion interpolation on. It's like, that motion interpolation looks pretty good, right? On this little sample test thing. But then I switched over to the movie, and I was like, whoa, wow. The settings, the motion interpolation looks amazing. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Like, no, just switch back to the settings I had for the movie. Anyhow. So, let's talk about the movie I ended up watching because I got tired of staring at flickering screens because that's what my test was, a bunch of flicker. I was like, let's watch a movie. And I was like, well, let's watch Wag the Dog. So I hadn't seen Wag the Dog since, probably since when it came out, 1990 something or other. And I was watching Wag the Dog and I thought, this is a very kind of a cutesy movie, kind of tongue-in-cheek movie. But oh man, is it naive. It's like, it might have been smart and clever back in the 1990s. Like, but like today, like with the internet would have such a field day with Wag the Dog. If you were to remake Wag the Dog, it would stretch limits of credulity today. You could do a Wag the Dog story. You can do a story where you involve like misinformation as a way to, manipulate elections. I mean, well, I shouldn't say any more, or else I'm going to get demonetized. Well, I won't get my 10 cents for the stream. But, nowadays, it's a lot more messy than the Wag the Dog would have portrayed it. Like, Wag the Dog was so like, all you gotta do is tell the guys to call, ask the question in a certain way and do a certain thing. And then the media they played the media so well. Back then, you only had like one or two media outlets. So the media was such smaller source. But now with Twitter, all the Albanian, if you don't know what Wag the Dog is, the guy is running for election and he apparently likes to, there's a story that comes out where the president likes to touch little girls. Stretch of imagination. I know we couldn't imagine that ever happening in real life, but so he likes to touch little girls. And there's a story coming out with this. He's going to be in trouble for allegations. And so he's like 11 days away from the election. So in order to kind of get the media attention off of that story, they basically start a little mini war with Albania. And so there's like, look, the president can't be bothered with these allegations for this story. He's got too many issues to deal with, including, and I'm getting tired of hearing about the B-3 bomber. Those are allegations. We never heard about the B-3. What B-3 bomber? No, there is no B-3 bomber. You're right. There's no. So they're trying to insert this thing about starting a war with Albania. They end up shooting Kirsten Dunst. They get Kirsten Dunst out to shoot on the green screen, and instead of finding a dog or cat for her to carry, they put a bag of Tostitos in her arm, and so she's running around with a bag of Tostitos, which they optically replace, which even in 2023 would be very difficult to do, but they pretend like you can do that in 1990s technology, whatever. Anyhow, so they have footage of the girl escapes the terrible regime of the Albanians, and everyone's buying it, and it's like, well, that's a little naive. Some people would buy it, but some people wouldn't, and there'd be a big scandal. So it's just it's just so over the top. And what's the moral of the story? You don't change horses in midstream. Spoiler alert! If you didn't see the movie, so the president gets reelected because they orchestrate this war, and Dustin Hoffman plays this producer that helps orchestrate the whole thing, right? And throughout the movie, they're like, you're not allowed to tell the actress, you're not allowed to put this on a reel, you're not allowed to tell anybody you did this, or else, people come knocking, right? But Dustin Hoffman, he's like, congratulations, we did it, we got him reelected, great job, and De Niro's like, great job, great job. And he says, and then he turns on TV, and he's watching these talk shows, and the president really had a, the real reason why he got elected was those commercials where they said that don't change horses in midstream. That was the reason. That's a brilliant ad campaign. And Dustin Hoffman's like, dude, I orchestrated this thing. I made this war happen. Created this whole charade of this war. And I was able to convince the American public that we needed I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this, Bobby De Niro. I can't do this. I can't do this. And Bobby De Niro's like, don't do it. You said you can't talk. You can't talk. It's like, I want to tell people. And the next thing is, right, he's gone. No, they didn't shoot Kirsten Dunst. They just told her she couldn't use it for her reel. But, yeah. Off the topic, how is MPA ratings today? Do they still do that? Yeah, they still rate movies. The thing is, I think the MPAA rating system, I'm not a parent. I have friends that are parents, but I think the thing with the MPAA, there's less drama about it because the internet exists. Like, why are you going to punch a cat? That's funny. Sorry, I just got distracted here. The MPAA ratings do exist. All the films do get MPAA ratings. Remember the movie the Marilyn Monroe movie, Norma, I think was it? Had an NC-17 rating for a while because there was too much graphic nudity in that thing, so they pulled it back. There's obviously some play on the rating system. I think it's more for parents. It's like, it's a shorthand. What is the movie rated? Oh, PG. Okay, you can go see it. What is the movie rated? R. Well, let's not go to an R movie. Let me check. And then once you're like 15 years old, it's like, yeah, go see an R movie. Who cares? But for a 9-year-old kid, like, yeah, I'm not gonna let my kids see that R-rated movie. I don't really want them to see it. You don't have to do any more research. It's an R-rated movie. Don't show the kids that movie. Now, you might say it's an R-rated, but my kid really wants to see it. Well, let me research it. Let me read about it. Let me go find out more about this movie. Back in the day, we keep forgetting about how amazing the internet. Back in the day, if you were to say, go to your parents like, hey, I want to see Jurassic Park. And we're 6 years old. I want to see Jurassic Park. Oh, that sounds cool. Okay, well, what's it rated? PG-13? Okay, well, why is it? That must be a little too old for you. Well, let me, you like dinosaurs. Let me look it up. How would you find out information about a movie? You could look at your newspaper, but the newspaper would only contain like a blurb about what the movie was about. You had no idea what was in the movie, like what content was in the movie. It would be disturbing to a kid or not. Like the MPA, at least with the MPA rating, you could look at the rating and, PG-13 for mild violence or for graphic violence. Okay, well, now I know. As long as there's no tits in it, we can't have Johnny seeing tits because, God forbid, he sees tits. But no, lawyer getting cut in half, that's perfectly fine for him to see. Okay, send him on his way. So that's what the rating system is for. It's information. It's information. I mean, that's a theory, right? It's information for the viewer to just, shorthand is to figure out what's in the movie, whether it's appropriate for kids or not. That's all it is. Now with the internet, just go online. Should my kids see this thing? You see all these people talking about it. You can read it. You can do all sorts of research. Now, back in those days, there was no internet. You'd have to go find your neighbor or somebody who saw the movie and ask them first. Well, if nobody saw the movie, it's the opening night. The newspaper's not going to tell you what's in the movie. There's no internet. There's no way to get information about it. So that's why I don't think the MPAA rating system is that big a deal. I mean, sure, let's keep rating movies because people still need to have that shorthand of whether content is appropriate for certain ages or not. That's still necessary. But, as an adult, do I care? No. Do I care if maybe it's a difference between do you want to watch it with your in-laws? If you saw a movie that was NC-17, is that a movie you want to sit down with your parents and watch? Maybe not. That kind of thing. One True Kit says, speaking as a parent, MPAA BBFC is really helpful. Sexual violence, rowdy, fun, gore are two different things. Both rated as 15. I rely heavily on the parent content sections of IMDb. There you go. And the thing is, if you didn't have IMDb, you would need those rating systems more so. Yeah, that wasn't the way in the 90s way, the arts and entertainment section of the newspapers too. Exactly, yeah. But, those arts, I remember getting on, I loved reading the arts and entertainment section of the newspaper because that was it came on Fridays. So I would go there and I'd read the 2 Roger Ebert reviews they had in there. I'd read about all the stuff that's going on, and maybe there's a section in there about, the historical society is having a flamenco dancing sessions, downtown. And it was just, I loved that part. I missed that, honestly. And now we have Facebook. Ugh. Terrible. Freakazoid had a great sketch on the film rating system. Yeah. I never saw that. I've been reading a book on Howard Hughes' RKO. The Censor of the Day tried to get a movie banned because Ingrid Bergman and the director had an affair, a love child, and Hughes hinted at it in the ads. Yeah, remember, ratings are not... So the idea with ratings is a way to avoid censorship. Like the MPAA is not a government entity. It is an industry private entity, which means it's not the government controlling it, which is the idea. Was if the industry would to regulate itself, then we wouldn't have people petitioning the government to regulate the industry. So that was the idea with the MPAA, right? Before the MPAA and all that stuff, the governments could, state governments could literally cut up films left and right. You go see a movie in Kansas, and then you take a train and go to New York City, you'd see 2 different movies because they were censored in different ways. So it's interesting stuff. Let's see. Interesting point. The one true kit it also makes for some pretty funny scenes in Tropic Thunder. They replaced the whole full retard dialogue with full special. Never go full special. Oh yeah. I am sick of these Monday through Friday snakes. All right. I forget the line. What's the line from Snakes on a Plane? It's like I'm sick of these I'm sick of these monkey fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane. That's the best ever of all time. Some of the creative stories dealing with the MPA are saying Tarantino and Scorsese come to mind. But remember, so the thing is, you gotta remember with those situations is the filmmakers are entirely, they have the government granted right, not government. They have the First Amendment right to make whatever film they want. Like no one will, if Tarantino or Scorsese release a NC-17 movie, no one will ever come and arrest them. They are completely free to do so. That is their right. As an American, they have the freedom of speech, right? However, if they were to do that, the contracts that they've entered with certain theater groups, like theaters, movie theaters and stuff like that, can say, well, I don't want to show that in my theater. And those theater owners have their 100% First Amendment rights to reject not showing movies in their theater. They will say, I will only show movies that our group, the Motion Pictures Association of America, MPAA, our industry groups, labels a certain level for viewing audiences. Right? So they are free to make the movie in NC-17. However, if they want to get the movie shown in certain theaters, in mass theaters, they have to abide by what's the industry standard or the industry. I don't even want to say the word censorship. Is the industry agreement there? Is it a form of censorship? Yes, it is. It's a form of economic censorship. I'm not going to deny that fact. I'm not going to deny that wording of it. But it's not censorship from a government standpoint. And the government censorship is what you want to be afraid of. The industry censorship is more like, well, you want us to play ball with you. You're going to make a buttload of money showing these movies here. Then you got to follow what you got to give a little bit of give and take. So don't confuse those two concepts. It's not censorship in that sense, but it's a censorship in a different sense. If that makes sense. Monkey fighting snakes. There you go. And yippee-ki-yay, melon farmer. I should just say that. It should yell that out in public. Yippee-ki-yay, melon farmers. Get this melon farming snake off my melon farming plane. Melon farmer. That is amazing. All right. How long have I been on here for? Have I literally been on here for 2 hours? Time has seriously flown by. No, it's only been an hour, right? How long have I been on this thing? Jeez. No, I started at 2:45. It's now almost 4:45. We'll go to 4:45. I've been on for a while. This has been fun. I've had a lot of fun today. This is a lot of fun. So we'll hang out for a little bit more. The New York Times had a full 4-page ad for Close Encounters of the Third Kind back in '77. The newspaper ads were a lot of fun. They were so much fun. They still have the full-page ad for Empire, cheaper than a poster. Oh, cool. All right, so I forgot. Wag the Dog. Thought was naive. enjoy. I mean, it was cute. It was Dustin Hoffman's character kind of annoyed me. I'll be honest. It just kind of annoyed me. Too much money. He's too rich. Um, the other movie I put in the topic. So now if you've gone through 2 hours waiting for me to talk about the House Bunny, here it is. Anna Faris, so cute in that movie. Like, so cute. She is such a good comedic actress. I love her. I love her in the House Bunny. It's funny to see that Playboy was speaking of nostalgia and going back in time and looking at old times, is nostalgic to see the Playboy trying to be wholesome. If you guys remember back in the early 2000s, they had the Girls Next Door show on E, and it was like, oh, we get an insider look into the girls of the Playboy Bunny, the Hef's girlfriends, and it was the most like ridiculously saccharine, sweet kind of like, oh, today we're going to take Bubbles the cat to get her her pedicure. All the girls like, oh, it's so cute. Look at the little bunny. I dressed my little doggy in a little furry sweater, and he's so cute. It's like, dude, Playboy was never about this ditzy kind of wholesomeness, like obnoxiously wholesome kind of. It was such a bizarro. Looking back on it, because I remember living, and my mom was actually not a big fan of it. My mom wasn't like, mom just enjoyed watching because she called it the dirty old man show. But it was like, it was so weird to think that the Playboy was trying to become sort of like this wholesomeness. You know, there was a little bit of nudity in the girls show, the Girls Next Door show, tiny bit, just to remind you that these are kind of Playboy playmates. But it was kind of ridiculous. And the House Bunny was such a a fixture of that faux wholesomeness of Playboy. Now in the last 2 years, there's been documentaries and series about Playboy that have come out that are very very, I'm losing my mind here. My neck is starting to hurt a little bit. Very critical of the Playboy, very revisiting kind of the realities of what the women went through working for Playboy and what realities of being a Hef's girlfriend really were like. Because it wasn't exactly like all pedicures for dogs. It was more like like you're gonna have sex with an old man tonight and maybe tomorrow night as well, that kind of thing. So the thing, go back and revisit a period of time where Playboy was really pushing the wholesome thing, because the House Bunny has like nothing, no nudity at all. There's no edge to it as from a sexual standpoint. It treated Hef as some sort of angelic grandfather when their relationships were obviously sexual but not presented as such. So that was a kind of an interesting way to revisit that movie, and Emma Stone was so young looking. You're like, wow, that's Emma Stone, and that's Kat Dennings, and Kat Dennings is really quite an amazing different look. Well, not different. She looked like Kat Dennings, and seeing them so young, and then seeing what's her name from Kat McPhee, who's a deep cut. Like, you never know if you didn't watch American Idol back in those days, you wouldn't know who Kat McPhee was, right? And the ironic thing, one of the girls that plays the butch looking girl from the movie, she was one of the girls that allegations took down Louis C.K. So all interesting parallels. The House Bunny, cute movie, sure, I liked it. I mean, it was fine. Anna Faris was peak Anna Faris. Like, her comic abilities really shone through. Just how good a comedic actress she was, and just seeing, kind of looking at her and Emma Stone, like in the same scene. Like, you could see where Emma Stone's career was kind of taking off. Like, she'd come out of the I'm getting her mixed up with Lindsay Lohan for a second there. But that she played like a nerdy Emma Stone as a young girl. She's obviously grown up to be a lot more adult roles now. You see where her career is going. You see where Anna Faris is kind of going too. Like Anna Faris's comedic chops just really, really good. She, and perhaps that movie was a mistake for her, but perhaps that movie kind of made her too sexual because she looks so good in that movie that maybe she got kind of typecasted as more like a beauty than her typecast of her beauty rather than her comic skills. I don't know, but she did well. She got her own roles in sitcoms and stuff like that. So yeah, they threw her into so much crap. Pretty much that's kind of thing, It's a problem with comedy too. Like comedy is a lot of crap. Wow, my vMix stopped working. Oh, that's a shame. Let's see if I refresh this. Okay, vMix. Let's turn it off and then on again. If you try turning it off and on, nope, I think it's dead. Oh, I think it crashed. I think my vMix social thing crashed, so I can't pull up your comments. Dang you, vMix. Anyhow, I'll just read a couple of them from here, and then we gotta get going pretty soon because I gotta go. I think I'm gonna go buy some food for dinner. No, I got stuff for food. I'll just go home and make dinner, and then I'll go out and do my stuff. I love my background. Thank you, ML7. Let's see. We're gonna take it off. Let's see to that. If we just close that. Close it. Yeah, that thing just crashed. Oh, well. We'll just leave it. We'll wrap up pretty soon. So I'll read a few more. Oh, there it goes. Excuse me, burping there. All right, let's pull up Remix Social again. So pull up your chats before we head on out the rest of the day. So that's my thoughts on House Bunny. Now that you got the entire... I never like to leave a stream without talking about what I said I was going to talk about on the stream. There we go. It's me, a Filmmak-IO view. There we go. All right, cool. Have you tried forcing an unexpected reboot? I always say my computer needs a good hard booting. She was great. They poured it into so much crap. Poor Hef, yeah. Does it matter, Dirk Schneider? You guys must be talking to each other. Would you felt more inclined to watch Lord of the Rings if you thought they'd get a chance to get naked? Dirk Schneider says, there are spoilers. The ratings will tell you what's possible and what's not possible in the film I'm about to watch. Here's the thing. Going back to, would I be more inclined to watch Lord of the Rings? I would place Lord of the Rings. Would I be more inclined to watch Sexy Girls from Mars if I knew there was no nudity in it? Think about that. And the answer is no. If I saw Sexy Girls from Mars rated G, I'm like, why would I watch that? It was Sexy Girls from Mars rated R. Okay. All right. We know we get the kids out of the room. We get the kids and the parents out of the room, and we turn on Sexy Girls from Mars rated R. Even better, rated NC-17. Oh, here we go. Would you watch Showgirls if it was rated G? No. So it depends on the genre, right? Lord of the Rings, I don't care about the nudity. Game of Thrones. VMix chat says this kind of thing happened before. It's always due to human error. Yeah, it happens to all guys, dude. Seriously, it's not a big deal. Like every once in a while, sometimes VMix, it happens, dude. Don't sweat it. It's not about, don't worry. It's not that I'm not attracted to you or anything like that. It happens to everybody. That's what. Yeah, I probably wouldn't take those kids to see Sexy Girls from Mars. But if it was G-rated, it's like I tell my wife, right? Hey, honey, look, dude, the movie was G-rated. It says Sexy Girls from Mars. It was G-rated. Dude. Come on, babe. It was G-rated. The MPAA says that there's nothing objectionable for kids in it. So I took my kids to see Sexy Girls from Mars. What's wrong with that? Or what's that movie that they made? Mars Needs More MILFs. That was I like that movie. Mars Needs More MILFs. So I thought that was I thought it was a Disney movie, right? Mars needs more milfs. I'm proud of that. I'm sorry. I don't care what you guys think. I'm proud of that joke. Proud of it. Hey Matthews, how you doing? You missed my whole rant about frame rate earlier. Watch the movie, fun visuals, animation stunning, full of passion, care. The script is very undercooked and underdeveloped, perhaps due to so many references. Yeah, but it's fun. That's all. Yeah, Mars needs more MILFs. I'm sure somebody else came up with it before I did. We saw more of Mario and Luigi's bond from early movie and the way their father just accepts them, the way they become heroes at the end doesn't sit right with me. Yeah, but it is what it is. It's just a Mario movie. Don't get too hung up on it. There are plenty of movies that play cards to the chest in order to surprise you, and if there's an R in the box, you know what's coming. Do you though? You think you're gonna see a titty, but no, you see someone's head get decapitated. So I don't know. Depends. I guess if you like, a lot of movies nowadays have. I really wish you would have not told me that there was tobacco use in this movie. That's a real spoiler, dude. That's a real spoiler. Somebody uses tobacco in this movie. Guys, we got it. Spoiler alert, please. Please. Somebody smokes a doobie. Please give me a spoiler alert. Yeah, that frame rate rant was a doozy. I was inspired. That was came from the heart. Anyhow, oh my God, it's almost. Oh, so we'll go to 5. We'll go to 5. Give it to you guys. You're getting 2 hours and 15 minutes of me rambling incoherently. Are you not entertained? Are all 12 of you not entertained? No, it's 42. 41. Oh, there's a lot of 37. This stream is popping. Probably because I was talking about the sexy girls from Mars. Earth girls might not be Earth girls. Well, I'm at the point where it doesn't really matter. Wait, no, I thought Earth girls might not be girls. I was assuming you thought we were saying that they were not from Earth. I don't mind if they're not from Earth. In fact, if they're not from Earth, who cares? Girl, boy, doesn't matter. If it's an alien creature, who cares? There you go. Akira Kurosawa often used deep focus even when he really didn't need to, going to the trouble of doing so. Some say is the reason because Kurosawa's background as a painter, keeping much of the image sharp. Yeah. There you go. What do you think the frame rate standard would have been had there not been any technique or budget restraints when the first films were ever made? Good question. It's a good question, but it's also not a practical one, right? Because I would say, I don't know what it would be. I would say it might have started off in a high frame rate. It might have started off in like a 40, 50 some area, right? It might have started that way. But then there would be people artistically experimenting with lower frame rates. And I think at that point you would start to find that certain lower frame rates had a certain distinct character to them. Now it would be slower, obviously. But the thing is it's kind of like, well, what would you do if you had $1 billion? Sometimes it's fun to think about, but it's not even practical thinking because think about animation. What would animation be if you had no practical limitations on animation? And the question is, well, how could you have no practical limitation on animation? Somebody has to draw all those frames, so there has to be some sort of practical limitation on it. And same thing with film too. It's like, well, how can you have no practical limitation on film? Would there ever be a time when there was no practical application? Now, in essence, television is a little bit like that because television is only bound to 60 because of the power rate, right? So television might have been kind of an example of that. So it started off with 60, but the fact of the matter is we ended up back here at 24 still. I'll tell you what I do with $1 million, 2 chicks at the same time. Wasn't that Office Space? Good call. I think that's Office Space, right? What are the best deep focus movies? Like Citizen Kane kind of stuff like that. Ooh, favorite TV like Yellow Jackets, Ted Lasso, and From. I gotta pull out my Apple. I was looking to look at that Apple TV. There's a new show on Apple TV that looks pretty good. I forget, Rigorous or something like that. I haven't really watched a lot of TV shows in a while. I wrapped up Fleabag, but you didn't like Fleabag. I think you wanted to avoid Fleabag. I'm trying to think what else I liked. Fleabag, I think, was the last TV show that I watched. It's been a while. Like, I haven't been watching a lot of stuff lately. I've been like super busy with work. Anyhow, Earth Girls sounds like an alternative to Water and Fire Girls. Oh, there you go. Water, Fire, and Air Girls. Yeah, Air, Water, Wind Girls. Bo Mike says it's not cheating if it's alien. You can also say that about sheep. Oh boy, we're going. This is what happens to the later in the stream, guys. If you're new here, when you get late in the stream, it gets pretty blue. Sorry. Have you seen Patrick Williams' video how IMAX made Christopher Nolan a better filmmaker? IMAX forces him to use wider shots, not rely on just on tight close-ups. Yeah, that's an interesting theory. The thing is, I wouldn't necessarily say that wider shots are better. Wider shots are a different filmmaker. You guys saw the Asteroid City trailer, right? Like, that's a totally different kind of style too. Anyhow, what are your thoughts on Stranger Things? I liked the first season. I had to bail on the second season because remember I was talking about Mario earlier about the needle drop. The needle drop issue with Mario Brothers, how like I didn't like the fact that they used like take me on, yeah. That song came out like when I was born. Why are you inserting this song? I also didn't like the needle drop in Stranger Things, and it just felt like it was like trying to just beat me over the head, like, hey, remember the 80s? Remember the 80s? And it was in the second season when the guy gets out of his car, rock me down. Rock me like a hurricane. Dun, 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 dun. And it was like so gratuitous use of 80s music. I couldn't take it anymore. So that's why I bailed on it. And I haven't watched Stranger Things since. Like, I could take a little bit of nostalgia. Give me a little bit. But don't beat me with it. Slap me around with a needle drop. Yeah, of course, the ironic thing about most films we know as X-rated aren't actually rated at all. Yeah. And the X-rated movies, like, man, we're going to watch... Hey, honey, I rented an X-rated movie for us tonight. Oh, yeah, an X-rated movie, huh? What's it called? Midnight Cowboy. Ooh, sexy. Midnight Cowboy. Oh, my God, it's going to be good. It's like, I'm walking over here. Come on. You won't get that joke unless you know what Midnight Cowboy is, and I'll say that you know that it was X-rated. And what else is X-rated? I think it was. We're trying to think of other movies that were X-rated, but like completely just like were not sexy movies. Do you ever suffer from FOMO from not watching certain TV shows or movies? No, I suffer from FOMO when I'm watching certain TV shows or movies. I can't tell you how much watching Barry gives me FOMO and fear of missing out. Like, watching Barry gives me such a case of FOMO because it's like that show feels like something I could make and I'm not making it. And God, do I feel like I'm missing out. Like, and I watched, that's why I streamed a long time ago. I was professing my undying love for Bill Hader. Cause I was so want to do that, what he does so hard. I guess maybe I might be the only filmmaker channel or video maker channel that will happily admit that I feel very bad not making certain kinds of content because I really want to make that. And I'm probably out there, all these people say, well, then go make it, John. Well, yeah, but I've got all these excuses. Guys, I have a bunch of excuses, and these excuses are valid. Trust me, they really are. They really are valid excuses why I'm not pursuing my dreams. I swear to God, they're real. They're really there. Dude, just go and do it. Yeah, but I've got excuses. Don't you understand? Excuses. There's reasons I can't do what I want to do because I've got excuses. Yeah, it's true. The MPA Wikipedia page states that MC-17 replaced X. Why aren't you referencing a real topic, which is my video, The History of Censorship in Films? Ding! Right? No. It didn't replace, MC-17 didn't replace X. X was kind of retired because X was never trademarked. So basically, porn took over X. They figured, well, if 1X is steamy, then 3X's ought to be really hardcore. So X became kind of synonymous with porn because the MPAA didn't trademark it because they figured, well, X is just whatever. Everyone else that makes movies, X will just be what they apply, self-applied, right? So, give me friends and FU money, I would make a film right now. There you go. Every time I hear the song Rock You Like a Hurricane, I think of Sideshow Bob. Yep, there you go. I saw real quick, I thought it said the MPA Wikipedia page states that NC-17 replaced the X-Wing. The X-Wing was replaced by the A-Wing. No, the X-Wing is still being used I believe the X-Wing is still being used by the New Republic. In fact, it's a variation of the X-Wing. The A-Wing, not so much. The B-Wing's kind of become the all-purpose fighter. They sort of retired the Y-Wing. I'm sure none of that is true. None of that is true. So, all right, I gotta get going here. My neck's killing me, and I need to go eat some food. I've had some food before, but I want to have some more food. Get some more protein in me, and go see a movie. Go exercise, do a little bit of swimming, and get a movie. Watch a movie. When I get FOMO watching a movie, it's because it reminds me of a movie I actually like watching B westerns, and wishing I was watching Rio Bravo or Winchester 73. Yeah, there you go. I'm making a film right now. Nice. God, that's fun. I'm the film actor, and the world is the scenery. Well, yeah. All the world's a stage. All the world's a movie stage. Get the vibrating massage gun. There you go. Steal it from my sister. I don't have a sister. I wish I had a sister. Yeah, I found my massager in my sister's drawer. It's really good. It's really powerful. It's also like Wiggles. It does this thing. It must be really good. John, what the fuck is your problem? I just want to hang out with you guys. I'm enjoying it too much. Another classic Japanese director who loves deep focus. His shots are full of layers, beautiful framing, and each hand to stand on its own great photo. He rarely moves the camera. Yep. All right. I'm budgeting a short looking for grants. There you go. Try that. Yeah. Although I think grants are going to be hard for shorts. There's not much money in shorts. There's no way to recoup short money. Good luck. Anything you can do, whatever dollar counts. If you get like $500 to make it short, like your budget could be like $3,000, but $500 to help it out. Hey, that's only $2,500 budget. So every little bit helps. There you go. You're Canadian. That's right. All your Canadian monies goes into your shorts. I mean, so I was looking at maybe perhaps what would it be if I could turn Filmmaker IQ into like a PBS Digital Studios thing. I've always thought highly of PBS Digital Studios. I was always wondering, can I get some funding from PBS Digital Studios to maybe even turn that studios series into like a legit PBS thing? And I looked into it, but I didn't seriously look into it. So we'll see. Maybe I feel like that would perhaps make a good pairing, right? As far as getting funding for it. Although, I'll be honest, like those videos, they start very slow. They're deadly slow. They're so slow that I feel like sad how slow those pick up, because they're just like 1,000 views in the first week, and like, oh God, I spent like months and months crafting this thing, and it's got like, I can talk about frame rate and get 30 times the views, versus the history of Fox, right? And they're very slow. However, they don't stop growing. They just keep going. So my Paramount video is like upwards of 75,000 views. So that's pretty good. If you get on the PBS train, can you mention me to that Lindsay girl or the Words lady? I like the Words lady, Dr. Erica Bruskowski or whatever her name is. Lindsay, I'm not so crazy on Lindsay, but she's. Here's a bit of she's Taiwanese, so like, hey, we have that in common. I'm sure she's probably married or anyhow. But the funny thing about her, there are certain people that you can tell she wears glasses in real life. Like there's a certain way you look at the world. Like if you Google her, you see all her Instagram photos. She's always wearing glasses, and so when she's on the show, she doesn't have her glasses on, and you can kind of tell she's used. Maybe it's just the way that like glasses create a little bit of like a farmer's tan around your eyes or something like that. That you can kind of tell that they don't have their glasses on. And I think she looks great with glasses. So I wish she would just wear the glasses. Is that the Words lady or is that something else? I don't know. So yeah. Also, the poor the other girl, physics girl. I really like her, but she's had a real big bout with COVID, and she's kind of like in a lot of trouble. So that's what I was thinking. Like maybe the PBS place would be a good home for it. But again, I haven't done the homework. I went on their site, and you have to fill out a DIE statement or whatever. I'm like, well, I cover that because I'm pretty diverse. I've got German and Taiwanese, so I'm diversity. I'll fit in there just fine. So we'll see. I don't know. I should look into it some more because I think that would be a good fit. I really do. Even if it's not digital studios, maybe if I could get it produced for PBS television somehow, that'd be and remake the ones, but approach it from that like a film noir style. Still have a little bit of fun with it, I don't know. Yeah, YouTube algorithm changed to prioritize big money makers. Yeah, pretty much. So it's like even before this last video, before the frame rate video of the eye, my earnings, which I don't make that much. I used to make like $400 a month, just kind of coasting. I dipped like a quarter, but now that frame rate of the human eye, that's bringing back up to 400. So, we're good. Whatever. It's YouTube. YouTube's being YouTube. What's Final Touch Pro's problem, dude? You need to get banned. That's like spamming shit here. Anyhow. Ban, remove. You're gone, Final Touch Pro. All right, one last one. What's your opinion on AI taking over? I don't think it will. It's funny. I'm a big fan of Scott Adams, who's the Dilbert comic guy. And this morning he was talking about how the funny thing with Scott Adams is like for the longest time, for months and months and months, he was talking about how like all you guys and if you're creative, you think your job is safe. You're not safe. The AI is coming. He's saying, I've seen the AI do all this thing. You can type the words and do AI. And then this morning, his monologue, his live stream today, he was talking about how I spent $1,000 trying out all these AI programs, and yeah, they're not very good. they're not very good. They're not very good. So I don't think AI will help. I've got to do a job for the city where I'm going to be doing some logo and animation stuff. I'm going to do logo design for a upcoming event, and they want me to create an art style that's an art style that's similar to a comic book, right? So I need to talk to them about exactly what they mean. But I'm going to use AI not to do my work for me, but to kind of help me. I'm going to feed AI the image. Like they want to do comic book style of certain locations in town, like famous landmarks. So what I'm planning to do is take the landmarks, take a photo of them, put them through AI, ask it to do a comic book style of it, and then I'll get a bunch of references, and then from there I will create my own using those references to cobble them together and create something that is a print capable. Because Midjourney can't deliver print level work, and then I really couldn't fix it. I can't adjust it. So I'll use it as a reference tool, and then I'll create my own. But AI is not going to take over. AI is going to help do certain things and make certain things easier for sure. But still going to take someone trained to use that AI. So I think you, as a creative, you will have to incorporate AI into your work. You'll have to be able to utilize AI to help advance your own work. But your job is not. I mean, your job is not gone. There's a tweet I was reading about how they're talking about specialists versus generalists. And the specialist, if you are a specialized job, right? If you're a very specialized job, you are the best at something. You are the least capable of change because you are specialized in a certain thing, right? Whereas the generalist, the person that does a little bit of everything, may not be the absolute best at everything, but is capable of everything, can easily be flexible and change and do whatever. Like, I'm a generalist. I mean, I'm pretty specialized, but I'm a pretty specialized generalist. I do a lot of stuff. So I see AI not as a threat, but as a way to maneuver and change and adapt. Anyhow. Where did I talk about Rise of Skywalker? On one of these live streams, I've talked about it. I've talked about it forever. Hey John, you ever hear tell of frame rate? What are those about? I know. Great channel I previously watched has only 10 to 50,000 views. Now all recommended channels at least 100 to 400,000, despite that not really that interesting. Yeah, the algorithm. Last 20 years, people are not reading, so low creative mind. AI will fill the gap. I don't know about that, because I don't think AI is creative. See, AI is, and there's a good Vox video about AI. Like, remember, AI is not creating anything. AI is essentially predicting what would be the most likely to be there based on certain parameters. So I don't think AI is necessarily creative. I think AI is useful for maybe just rolling the dice on something, because it's not creating anything. It's mixing and rematching. I think the artist is going to be the one that has to like redo it. Al Gore, AI Gore, invented the rhythm. Yep, he did. Al Gore has rhythm. Matthews told us to respond. It's good that kids have a Superman again. There you go. Oh man. All right. So it is now 5:12. I have given you 2.5 hours of the most solidly entertaining, crazy man sitting in front of a television screen, yelling at the screen about frame rate and get a clue, people. It's the human eye has no frame rate. Have you not been entertained? I hope you have been entertained. If you have been entertained, I'm sure all of you are subscribed to the channel. Otherwise, you would have never found me. Timo is watching in the Netherlands. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Can you imagine? You have to be entertained listening to this pudgy guy complaining about frame rate. This has got to be the highlight of your early morning experience, Timo. I'm sure it has been. It is the most entertaining thing you've ever seen in your life. It's got to be, right? So, on that note, I do have to get going and try to get this kink out of my freaking neck. Holy moly, it's annoying as heck. So thanks, guys, for hanging out. We will. I don't think I'll be making that video on the Flickr video soon, because I need to do a lot more research. So I might do another review video. So I had this one guy that had a really good little short that I want to review. Not so much as a criticism, but more just tearing apart what he did, because it's really well done. So anyhow, look out. Hopefully I'll get that this week, and we will make some more stuff, make some more great stuff. All right. So that's all we've got for you today. On that, thanks for dropping by, and I will see you next time. FilmmakerIQ.com. Fade to black.